First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the talent to be here and to keep me safe today. It was super sketchy, but man, my bike was working really good from lap one, and did a lot of testing the past few weeks, and it's paid off, and just felt really comfortable early on, and just kind of was cruising, and Liam was really ripping, man, and he got away there for a little bit, and was able to reel back in a little, kind of close that last lap and make a move, but man, it was an eventful day. I mean, I had some close calls, and I know probably everybody did, but it was a gnarly track.
Yeah, it was a good day. I got an average start, but chipped away at it and got to the lead, and yeah, it felt easy to me out there. I was riding good, and everything was flowing, and I could get it out a little, and then Jordan would bring it back in. He was faster towards the end of the track than I was, and yeah, those last two laps were tough. If you have a look at my rear tire, it's completely bald, so it worked when it worked, and I know now. I don't regret it. It's you live and learn, but yeah, came in here 12 with 13 points down, so I'm not sure where I stand now, but I think it's going to be close.
Feels really good. Honestly, I felt this good all year, just kind of poor situations I was putting myself in the first couple races, so I was able to kind of get a good start and make a couple good moves early that kind of put me in the mix. So no, I felt good. I was tight early on, and man, once I loosened up, I felt good. So definitely a relief, and yeah, I was excited. I feel good. I'm strong, like cramping a little bit, but just grit your teeth, and it's not even there. So now I'm excited, and yeah, I think we're still kind of in the mix. Everything's, still pretty close. So just got to capitalize on it and put myself back in it.
Clear XC1 Pro Podium, here from the Rocky Mountain Dukes, GNCC, Jordan Ashburn, Liam Draper, and Craig DeLong, 1, 2, and 3. And what a show it was.
Round 6 of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series and AMA National Championship heads to Tennessee for the specialized Old Gray GNCC. 5 different winners in 5 rounds this season. Who will take the 6th? It all starts now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there. I'm on the hot chair. Justoff gets the overall win with a lap time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have.
That was a battle.
That was a hell of a ride by both of those men. Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly.
Overall leader Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are wreckers, and Grant Davis comes out on top. Your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly.
I know I can show up, and I know I can win on any given week.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the specialized Old Gray GNCC. Johnny, we make our return back here to Tennessee for the 3rd year in a row. What do you expect?
And you have to expect the unexpected here at this Old Gray facility. We know it's going to be exciting racing. It's a rocky track, but it has some really good dirt in the back. But the stage is set coming into, obviously, this weekend we've had 5 different winners in the first 5 rounds of GNCC, and it's just been parity throughout the first 5 rounds. Coming in here today, will we see a 6th different winner? Well, we got to see a new winner 2 weeks ago in Kentucky with Jordan Ashburn getting the job done with a massive battle out front between him and Liam Draper and so many other riders in the mix throughout. It was exciting racing action all the way through.
Yeah, it sure was, Johnny. And Jordan Ashburn able to take that big win. And here in Tennessee this weekend, I expect some big things out of him. He's got a lot of hometown advantage on his side. I guess you could say he's going to have a ton of fans out here. He has the past 2 years, and I expect it this year as well. So I expect Ashburn to really want to put on a show.
Yeah, Jordan Ashburn, hometown boy. When you say hometown, you couldn't get any closer. Lives just up the road from this facility. Actually had ridden here for years, I believe, from what I'm told, before we started racing here. So it's definitely hometown advantage, home track advantage. But there's a lot of other riders in the mix that are going to be looking to mix it up with him. Obviously, Liam Draper sitting in that number 2 spot. Technically, Ben Kelly out front of the points lead, sitting in the number 2 spot, Jordan Ashburn, and then just behind him in the number 3 spot is Liam Draper. Has been incredibly enthusiastic here in 2026. You know, he's kind of quietly, hasn't won a race yet, but he's quietly just been chipping away at it, and now all the way up to within 3 points of the overall championship points lead. And today we had a chance to catch up with Liam Draper.
Yeah, it was another second place, really. But no, it was good. I rode great, I thought. I ran a different tire than most. Obviously, everyone's seen the picture of the bold tire at the end of the day. But yeah, it was a decision I made prior that week. I rode on it a lot and tested it, and it worked great, and I don't regret doing it. But yeah, I wish it lasted an extra lap.
And now that we've got a chance to hear from the riders, let's hear the course from our trail boss, Jared Bolton.
All right, well, Jared, the wing may be a little busted up, but you're still out here with us and, of course, helping set up and design this course. We've got the trails cut. What do we have in store here for round number 6?
Well, you know, welcome relief from last race. You know, the guys, not everybody's crazy about riding in the scrub brush, but be careful what you wish for. Getting in the hardwoods here, and when I say hardwoods, this place can be pretty technical. You know, it's a lot of rock here in Tennessee. It's not overly hilly, not super steep, but that rock adds a pretty good challenge. And you know, for the motorcycles, a little bit extra thrown in that's brand new. The course is a little bit shorter this year. We've got some places that we've been in the past that we're kind of staying out of this year, out of, you know, some requests from the area. And what that'll do is, while it makes the track shorter, it'll kind of make the racing more intense. You know, kind of keeps everybody maybe a little bit tighter together, and then add in that technical stuff. Guess what? That's going to tighten things back up as well. Overall, it's going to be a totally different race than last week. It's going to be really good.
There we go. Careful what you wish for. Jared Bolton's been working on it. He's got some surprises in store. Let's go racing.
All right, well, all you folks at home, now you've had a chance to see a little preview of what these riders are going to be facing out there today. And without any further ado, it's time to get the action underway. We're going to throw it down to our man, Zach Herron. He's going to give you some 10-second calls, and we're going to be back with all the racing action live here on Racer TV.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that.
This reminds me of my bike.
The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom.
Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a man. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And I hope that you feel that way. We are grateful that you are with us. But let's get in an attitude of prayer as we listen to those words from Ricky Towery.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a little word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, we do thank you for bringing us all back together safely so we can have a little fun together. Lord, you blessed us with such a beautiful spring day. That's just one small thing you do for us every day. We thank you for that. Lord, watch over these riders this afternoon. We'd ask you would keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, thank you for the landowner for caring enough about our sport to let us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family and watch over them. Lord, our military men and women, the ones that serve in the day and the ones that served in the past, they're the reason that we're out here having some fun together and we're free. Continue to watch over them, and thank you for the ones that served in the past. Our leaders, Lord, at the high level and the local level, let them always make the right decisions for us each and every day. Lord, we just thank you for all the blessings that you give us every day. We already had so much fun this weekend. We just ask you let us have a couple more hours this afternoon, and then we'll start heading down the road going back home. Take us all back home safely so one day we'll get back together like this and we'll have us some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen indeed, Ricky. Thank you very much. And as Ricky Towery makes his way to the inside of turn number 1, we ask if you have not already to please rise and remove your caps as we pay honor to the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
All right, if that doesn't get you fired up to go racing, I don't know what will. It's time to get ready to meet your superstars of GNCC Racing. Just about ready to introduce your XC1 Pro class. Here at round 6, the specialized old gray GNCC. Well, without further ado, what do you say? We meet the superstars. Coming to you in accordance of points. He's running the big number 1. He makes his way out of Harlingen, Connecticut. He's on the FMF KTM Factory Racing backed ride. Make some noise for none other than Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Livingston, Tennessee. He's on the Phoenix Racing Honda backed ride. It's the big bad number 3. Let's hear it for Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next. He makes his way out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. He's riding on that Ampro Yamaha backed machine. It's the 198. Let's hear it for Liam Draper. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. He's on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing backed ride. The 342, it's Craig DeLong. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Catawba, North Carolina. Also on that Phoenix Racing Honda backed machine. The big number 8, it's Mike Witkowski. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Denver, North Carolina. He's on the Liqui-Moly Factory Beta Racing backed ride. It's the number 7. Make some noise for Josh String. Rolling to the line next. He's making his way out of Mishapin, Pennsylvania. He's on the FMF KTM Factory Racing backed ride. We call him the Kid. Make some noise for Grant Davis. Rolling to the line 8. He makes his way out of Donald, South Carolina. He's on the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. He is fired up. He's got Levi back with him here this weekend. Let's hear it for the 514 of Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next. He makes his way out of Honey Pass, South Carolina. Also on that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. It's the 314, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Moxville, North Carolina. He's on the Morning Duck Racing, JDP Suspension, and Moose Racing backed Honda. The 336, it's Ryder Lafferty. Next up, making his way to the line out of Boonville, North Carolina. He's on the Ampro Yamaha. He's got the whole crew with him. Let's hear it for the 557 of Caleb Russell. And last but certainly not least, making his way out of Hickory, North Carolina, on that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. Just received that sportsmanship award, and a big hats off to him. Let's hear it for the 206 of Josh Toth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row, your XC1 Pro class, here from the specialized old gray GNCC. And now things start to get serious. Those final bit of preparations, starting spots have been decided. Now all that's left to do is get ready to party as DJ Judd hops out of the Mobile Entertainment Activation Transport. Gonna jump into that Yamaha R-Max 1000 Gold Sparkle helmet this weekend. And say it with me now, DJ Judd, remove the meat. Look at that, ask, and he does it. Good job, Judd. So DJ Judd gonna make his way beside the starting straight. We've had some bar banging action just in the first couple of corners all weekend long, and I'm expecting more of the same here to close out a fantastic weekend. As everybody takes their position, we get ready to hand control of this race over to the man. Ricky Towery lets him know 1 minute. 1 minute. Before we go silent and get ready to go. GNCC Racing. Oh, the butterflies at an all-time high. Entering the midpoint of the 2026 season. Crazy to think we're already at the 6th round of the year. And there it is. Blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As I gotta ask, Monterey, Tennessee, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, come on, guys. The sun is shining, blue skies here in beautiful Tennessee. It's round 6, baby. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, your XC1 Pro. There's the flag. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a drag race up the inside. Looks like it's a Phoenix Honda leading them in, but it's Craig DeLong going to lead them over the stripe. Jordan Ashburn and Ben Kelly, 2 and 3. Wachowski, Grant Baylor, and it looks like Draper up in the mix as well. No, that must have been Stu Baylor. There is Grant having to work his way back. These first few corners are slick as it gets. XC1 clean and clear. Here we go. Row number 2. Blue flag waves. Shut those machines down. Here we go. XC2 in. Seconds. XC2 250 Pro. And a flag's up. Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, Toby Cleveland, Jason Tino, Brody Johnson, Gavin Simon, and Jason Lipscomb. Oh, how about it, Cleveland? Wide around the outside, but I think Jack Walker is going to steal that Landers Home Solutions Store hole shot. And going to steal the XC2 lead along with it. Cleveland in that number 2 spot. Looks like that might have been Brody Johnson in the 3rd place position. Here we go, 10 seconds, 250A. Lane Smith, Lane Whitmer, Colton Shields, Michael DeLosa, Ryan Piper, Dylan McDonald, Cooper Jones, Chase Landers, James Jenkins, Caleb Wood. It's a drag race. It looked like the 313 of Collier Martinez grabbing $100 courtesy of the Grind Coffee Bar. And look at this, one of our riders down there in turn 2. He picks it back up and gets off and rolling. Quick on the recovery. Here we go. 10 seconds. 4-stroke A lights. Jock Smith, Brody Amos, Logan Pellegrini, Brady Beerbaum, Lennox Riley, Bryce Woodrum, Braden Baisley, Ben Connie, Travis Lentz. Who's it going to be? Oh, that's Jigs Bustini getting jiggy with it across the stripe and grabbing a hole shot. No doubt about it. Big class there in that 4-stroke A lights. Oh, looked like a tough start for Ryan Amancio. He is back up and back on the charge. 10 seconds, open A. Flags up, Cole Whitmer, Samuel Evans, Joe Schreiber, Van Adams, Will Steven Piper, Trevor Hullen, Keenan Rupp, Easton Uplinger, and Austin Shearer. Oh, no about it, that's Swole Cole gonna grab that whole shot on the 518 machine, 23 on the helmet. But Whitmer, he might have grabbed the whole shot, but he is fighting over that lead even still. 10 seconds, 150A. Flags up, Charlie Simpson, Colt McQuarrie, Gabriel Jimenez, Landon Parker, and Parker Savage. Who's it gonna be? Oh, McQuarrie tries to tuck it underneath, and I think it's gonna be enough. The 34-340 of Colt McQuarrie. Gonna grab that whole shot here in 158. 10 seconds, bet A 30 plus. Robbie Norwood, Michael Tarasco, Matthew Pope, Scott Brandon, Dylan Davis, Matt Modick, Sammy Norris, and Andrew Boggs. All battle. Woo, some contact right there. He's going to steal the whole shot away with it as well. Looks like 361 on the helmet. The 300 of Robbie Norwood going to shake it off. He's got 3 hours to catch back up. 10 seconds. The green flag flies. Junior A, 25 plus, Russell Smith, Ty Roberts, Deshaun Horton, Eli Childers, Wyatt Ford, Hayden Dillon, and Caleb Hagan. Oh, bar bang in action. The 5.72. Maybe that's a 5.22 of Hagan. Grabbing that whole shot. And looks like going to maintain control of the lead. Next row in 10 seconds. Senior A, 40 plus, Frank Messina, David Lewis, Robert Esquivel, Danny Hassel, Travis Green, and Stephen Meacham. Oh, they're tucking it around tight. Looks like it's going to be the gas machine leading them across. That might have been David Lewis getting the job done. As they continue to fight for position. Look at that, already a lead change. 10 seconds, open B. Flags up, Luke Thurfield, Brady Griffith, Austin Bittinger, Dylan Bailey, Sam Gintus. Looks like Colby Tucker, Jace James, Todd Applegarth, Colton Painter, and Jacob Blakely. Whoa, around the outside, how about it? 424 of Colby Tucker. Going wide there in turn one, but leaves the throttle on and leads them across the stripe. 4-stroke B lights, 10 seconds. Flag flies, Tristan Walker, Brody Bolin, Tucker McCrary, Bryson Milligan, Allen Gein, Will Thurfield, Philip Likens, Kid Norris, Owen Mock, Maddox Moretz, Hunter Carey, and Seth Miller. No question about it, the 777 of Owen Mock. Making a mockery of him. Across that whole shot line. He was way out by himself. 250B coming at you in 10 seconds. Owen James, Isaac Leitner, Brandon Bailey, Cody Anderson, Noah Morrill, Christian McCauley, Colin Pill, Wyatt Johnson, Matt Gray, Logan Grounds, John Fee, Levi Jones. Woo, how about it? I think that might have been the 521 of Logan Grounds. Keeping the power down and snatching that whole shot away, and he's got a couple of bike links now as they make their way into the woods. Here we go. 10 seconds, 150B. Flags up, Jagger Eckstein, Zachary Johnson, Ashton Pellegrini, Evan Stewart, and Dylan Royer. Oh, a couple of two-strokes screaming into turn number one. They get it slowed down, 541 on the bike, 541 on the helmet. Ashton Pellegrini gonna lead him across the stripe. Here we go, Vet B, 30 plus in 10 seconds. Flags up, Justin Vaughn, Jason Fultz, Justin Cadu, Juan Lozada, Andrew Cook, Matthew Hall, Dustin Stanley, Joshua Clintz, Joseph Evans out there as well. Ooh, some bar banging action. It's a KTM, the 353. That's gonna be Juan Lozada, the Florida native, gonna grab the whole shot. As the party keeps on rolling, next row in 10 seconds, Senior B 40 plus. There it is, Bob Raymer, Joey Nachi out there, Jonathan Casey, Jeremy Nance, Jason Corbin, Philip Solon, Max Olchenko, Bradley Harrington, and Ben Phipps. It's some KTMs coming together across the line. 590 on the helmet, Jeremy Nance keeps it on two wheels and out front. Lead them across the stripe. Junior B 25 plus. Next row up in 10 seconds. Here we go. Jonathan Boggs, Michael Hall, Kevin Campbell, Devin Coleman, Taylor Pinto, Tyler Daniel, Dylan Fleming, Cameron Hughes, Doug Hughes, and Zachary Agnello. Tucking it around the inside. It's a KTM with a glance over. Looks like that might have been the 435 of Tyler Daniel. making it happen. And ladies and gentlemen, we have got a clean and clear start. We are officially Specialized Old Gray GNCC Racing. We're going to get a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up all of the action, all live, right here on Racer TV.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple, with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Specialized Old Gray Progressive GNCC. Of course, Jackson Burrell standing by here with Johnny Gallagher, and now being joined in the booth by the trail boss, Mr. Jared Bolton. Jared, how you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm hanging in there. I'll tell you, stood here with you guys yesterday, had an absolute blast. So I'm going to hang around for a little while today. Man,
180 minutes.
180 minutes. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll tell you, I really underestimated how much this humerus fracture actually hurts. They say
tough one.
They call it a funny bone or whatever. I'll tell you what, it ain't very funny.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Of course, anybody that don't know, Jared having a little bit of a get-off, doing his trail boss duties there at the last round, having to have a surgery there, getting a couple screws. But, hey, we do gain one thing out of it, and that's you in the Racer TV booth with us. So we'll take it. Take it where we can get it.
Well, the action got underway here just a few moments ago. You got to watch those starts, but if you're just joining us here, we're going to do our Specialized Racing start recaps. We saw a shot there of Stu Baylor, a heartbreaker for him 2 weeks ago, but when things got underway quick off the line, it looked like it was Craig DeLong, Ben Kelly, and Mike Witkowski wheel to wheel to wheel, but it is Craig DeLong hooking up out of turn number 1 and carrying it across the line for that XC1 Pro hole shot. Jordan Ashburn driving around the outside, getting himself up front. Ben Kelly in the mix. You see Stu Baylor, the 198 of Draper, Josh Strang, and Ryder Lafferty all in the mix. And then there comes Caleb Russell. We had a couple riders down in the first turn. That was Grant Davis, Grant Baylor, and also Josh Toth. So you can see Davis up quickly and in pursuit, already catching the pack there. And then it was time for the XC2 250 Pro Class, and quick off the line, the 19 of Jack Walker on that Lipomale factory beta. But around the outside, the hole shot artist Toby Cleveland cooks it a little too deep, and Walker grabs it back. You know, we see Toby Cleveland full send for those XC2 hole shots, almost grabbing another one. But again, it is the 19 of Jack Walker, and the rest of the field giving chase there, looking like a rough start for the 226 of Jason Tino, our winner from the last round in Kentucky. So he's going to have to make some passes and get to the front to get himself back in this race.
Jack Walker and the beta team there with that two-stroke machine, they have it absolutely dialed in. Taking a look now at our Yamaha racing track map. Jared, we'll let you hop in for this one.
Yeah, you know, actually this is a really good course here. I've talked to a lot of people today, you know, actually more people than I normally talk to, just, you know, because I'm not actually in the woods riding around, seeing what's going on. And, you know, a lot of people said this is actually their favorite track of the year so far.
Oh, wow.
Almost caught me off guard in a way, you know, kind of mixed reviews. I don't think the ATV guys said that. You know, ATV guys aren't a super huge fan of this kind of stuff, but the bike guys love it. And this is a really unique piece of property. Once you get on that backside, it turns into regular dirt. The front side's a little more rocky. And we got just a little bit of rain last night, and what it did was make the woods absolutely perfect. A little slick for the youth to begin with, but it got really, really good. Morning race churned it up, and these guys have got absolutely primo dirt out there.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%. Taking a look here at the Tennessee mountains from our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl there, and kind of have our work cut out with us popping through the trees and finding our riders today. But here we go. Some of our static shots going to take a look at the riders making their way through. This is not going to be live shots here. This is going to be from some that we missed since the start. And you can see it there, Johnny. It looks like the crew going to be flying in formation. Caleb Russell there making his way by. The 557 machine is back, but there he is. Craig DeLong leading the way and continuing to after that start. Stu Baylor right there with him. And then Mike Wachowski. Looks like the teammates are going to be together with Jordan Ashburn right behind Wachowski.
Yep, and yet, like you mentioned, look at that. Looked like a new leader from that shot. That was Stu Baylor out front. He had worked his way around the 342 of DeLong, and then here comes the hard-charging. There is Caleb Russell and Ryder Lafferty keeping touch there. The big shakeup for me, it looked like Liam Draper had dropped back in that one camera shot, and there we see it. He was one of the top riders going through the first couple turns, so something getting a little amiss for him there. But Grant Davis already on the charge, has caught the pack after going down in turn number 1. So 5 miles in, and we're already seeing shakeups. Grant Baylor, here comes another one of the riders that was down there in turn number 1. Looked like 3 riders on the ground. We mentioned that during the whole shot. Looked like all 3 of them got together and just kind of went sliding.
Yeah, those 3 on the ground, and then Caleb Russell getting into the hay belt there. So he was called up as now seeing our XC2 leader, Jack Walker, making some real gains here in this one.
Yeah, he is steady away. That was a neat line he had around the outside there.
Yeah, you know,
I haven't seen anybody take that yet. Well, all right.
There you go.
Apparently,
and, you know,
now it's just the normal thing.
I think I kind of oversold it, you know, saying that the conditions were primo. If you watch these guys kind of dance around, these rocks are still slick. So I think, you know, Jack on that 2-stroke, he's looking for those 2-stroke lines. You know, they are a little bit different. 2-stroke doesn't have quite the traction that the 4-stroke does.
Yeah, with the 2-stroke, they tend to kind of try to roll more. With the 4-strokes, they can point and shoot just a little bit with that tractability and torque there. You can see, obviously, Gus Reardon just absolutely gripping up that hill. But in different parts of the track, each may have their advantages. Here comes Josh Toth on the 206 machine. And this is one of our best technical riders. So you can tell when he's struggling through some of this slick stuff. Had an opportunity to talk with your cohort, Ryan Eccles, and also Barry Hawk this morning as we see a good ride for Jay Lipscomb on the next class. He's running pretty well here early. There's Gavin Simon already having some podium finishes here in 2026. I don't know who number 9.50 is. We'll have to look that up. Did I read that right?
That's what I read there.
9.50. So we'll have to see who that is and give him some love. Interesting jersey printing there. But they were saying that last night's rain, when it came through, there's Cooper Jones, one of our top A riders coming through, and Lane Whitmer as well. So 258 boys are on it early. That rain that came through last night, not a lot of rain, obviously, Jared, but they were saying the section from where the youth track split off this morning, coming back to the main track, very, very slick. Even on the ATVs, they were kind of sliding off the track because it is so hard pack, and it was just the perfect amount of moisture where it didn't really soak in. It kind of just made that top layer greasy. So they were saying sections, correct me if I'm wrong, but for this afternoon race, the only fresh section will be the bike only, or did the morning run that as well?
Yeah, actually the morning ran that as well. So yeah, this is kind of all been ran in at this point. And like you said, it just kind of sat on top, and that just kind of makes this, I always say, like a layer of slime. You know, it just kind of sits right on top, and you're just kind of skating around on it. And eventually it works in and gets pretty good. But, of course, when the ground's already hard packed to begin with, you know, you're just sliding around right on top of it. It really doesn't give it a chance to completely stick to it.
Seeing a ton of our A-class riders making their way by. There goes Amos on the 08 machine.
Saw Dylan McDonald there as well.
Braden Baisley as well.
And Dylan McDonald, brother of this morning's second place finisher, Danielle McDonald. Both of them coming out of Australia. Traveling together, cool story, coming over here to chase the GNCC dream. Dylan kind of cutting his teeth in that 4-stroke A-Lights class this year.
You know, I just saw Ethan Harwell ride by there. If I'm not mistaken, he actually rode a hard enduro yesterday.
Wow.
According to what I saw on social media. That's a gnarly guy right there.
And just to back up and clarify, actually Dylan McDonald in that 250 class, not 4-stroke A-Lights. But, you know, if you've got... If you've got any questions about exactly what you know Jared's talking about there, Ethan Harwell went and rode. Was it Brown Mountain or where was it?
Brushy Mountain.
Brushy Mountain. You North Carolina guys get those all mixed up. But yeah, he said he actually didn't come to the GNCC. The rest of his family came on Thursday, and he opted to just come last night after the hard enduro. A young rider out of North Carolina. His dad Scott Harwell has driven semis for the KTM group, whether it be the KJSC that rides at the Supercrosses. He's driven that semi. Very involved with that program, and both of his boys, his younger brother Gavin, raced this morning in our youth race, and that just shows that family's commitment to racing. You know, to stay home in North Carolina, the GNCC's getting rolling. He's back there riding a hard enduro. Who knows, Jared? Maybe those skills will come in handy today in these rocks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as gnarly as it sounds to go beat yourself around that kind of hard enduro stuff, and then come race a 3-hour GNCC is actually probably a really good warm-up for this, because these rocks are going to seem like they're nothing after riding that stuff. You know, I've never done that particular bit at Brushy Mountain. I've ridden a lot of Brushies basically since it opened. And I know there's some pretty gnarly stuff.
No doubt, seeing a ton more of our amateur riders going by here at our FMF PowerPoint. Love to get a good shot like this where we really get to work into the entire group here and see some of our amateur riders making their way by. Looking great out there, seeing a ton of familiar names. Earlier ago, we saw Travis Lentz on the 171, but take a look at this, the big 514, your XC1 and overall leader. Stu Baylor making his way by. Jordan Ashburn in that second place spot now, with Craig DeLong holding on to third. Mike Wachowski going to be in that fourth place spot. Ben Kelly holds on to fifth. Then it's Caleb Russell in the sixth place spot, and then Ryder Lafferty rounding out our top 7.
Here comes Josh Strang in that 8th place spot, followed by Liam Draper in 9th. Grant Davis sitting back there in that number 10 spot. Baylor and Davis, man, I got to get that sorted out. I'll just take a breath. But yeah, seeing him on the ground, obviously a very disappointing round for him, as well as Stu Baylor 2 weeks ago. We know those are two riders that are going to be very motivated to make a statement here today. Obviously, Baylor running up front and Grant Davis giving chase. But this guy, man, he is on an absolute tear. He's now caught and passed Grant Baylor. Jack Walker on that Liqui Moly Factory Beta is absolutely shredding. Shout out, he is our points leader. You know, he's kind of flown under the radar. We had T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, who was our points leader throughout much of the first parts of the round. A lot of hype around the number 6 of Gus Reardon, Jason Tino grabbing a win. Jack Walker has gotten wins, but the biggest thing, he's just been so consistent. And we'd have to pull the points up, but I think he actually has a pretty substantial points gap right now. And there is Gus Reardon on the Phoenix Racing Honda, definitely looking. So it sounds like 15 points is that lead, 114 to 99 for Brody Johnson, another rider that's been running up top there, and Jason Tino tied with him for that number 2 spot.
In the XC2 class, that's a considerable lead because it does pay points the same way the overall pays. The pro scale is different than the amateur scale, where they're separated by 1 point. Yeah, there's a 5-point spread from first place to second place. And then it's not like the XC1 where it's based off the overall. XC2, if you have a bad day, but you still salvage a 7th place, but you finish, 35th overall, well, you're still getting 7th place points in the XC2 class.
And we saw that come into play last year with the championship for Grant Davis. He actually wrapped up the title on a day when us silly announcers forgot that and thought that he had scored no points, but because there was only 7 riders that completed the number of laps that he did, he got 7th place points, which was enough to lock up that 2025 XC2 title.
Something worth mentioning here with our XC2 points here this season in 2026, 4 different winners. And taking a look out of our top 5 riders. Brody Johnson, however, he said second in points. He is the only rider that is up in that top 5 in points that has not got a win yet here this season. So I know Johnson going to be searching for it over the next few rounds.
Absolutely. Leaders on screen. Stu Baylor leading the way. Almost looks like a replay of the end of our 2024 race here with Stu Baylor leading the way, but Jordan Ashburn chomping at the bit. Ashburn almost able to wrestle this one away from Baylor in the final corners 2 years ago here. And it's, like I said, starting off just like that one left off. But Baylor starting to make a little bit of ground and start to pull away a little bit from the number 3 Phoenix Racing Honda of Jordan Ashburn. Craig DeLong got our XC1 whole shot hanging tough there in the number 3 spot. So very much in touch with the leaders. But Baylor, I really believe he's out to make a statement here today. With the issues he's had and the points deficit that he is currently facing, it's, yes, wins are the only way he can ride himself back into the mix for a championship here. But the reality of it is, wins are what he's focused on. He wants to show these guys he is a force to be reckoned with when he's not having issues. There we see our points leader, Ben Kelly, Caleb Russell, and also Ryder Lafferty here through the VP Racing Fuels Pro Row. Grant Davis now starting to put some pressure on as he has gotten around Liam Draper, starting to put some pressure on number 7 of Josh Strang.
You speak of guys that are looking to make a statement. Grant Davis, obviously, this year has not necessarily gone the way he obviously wanted it to go, but obviously rides like this, we very well could see him work his way up through the pack. He's absolutely flying right now, and you get motivated on a track like this, and you can definitely make a pretty big statement at the end of the day.
Well, and Grant Davis was our overall winner here a year ago from that XC2 Pro Lights class. So now, he has that little bit extra confidence. But right now, the man out front setting the pace, Stu Baylor, already having won here in 2026 at round 3 at Talladega. Jordan Ashburn, the winner of your last round. Craig DeLong not grabbed a win yet here, but did get on the podium in our last round. Then Mike Witkowski, Ben Kelly, our points leader, Caleb Russell, and Ryder Lafferty looking strong here. I like Ryder. Looks like he really seems pretty confident in the rocks. And then a couple dusty guys, which we know appear to be Josh Strang and then Grant Davis, who has worked his way around Liam Draper.
Yeah, Draper having a rough start here to this one. Uncharacteristic for him after what was such a great ride just a couple weeks ago, riding the tire off of that machine. It was quite the ride. There's the 2-stroke machine. They're in that pit area, able to really get a good listen in on that sweet sound of the 2-stroke machine of Jack Walker. As now we follow along here with Stu Baylor. The 514 machine looking good to start this one out.
That was interesting. I don't know if that was a fist pump or it almost looked like he might have been adjusting his goggle strap there. That was...
it very well could be the goggle.
That goggle strap's pretty low. Yeah.
So, I didn't see him get goggles, but he must have got them somewhere out on the track. Or something grabbed at the strap. That's very rare, but it does happen and pulls it down. It almost looked like he was adjusting his goggle strap, but then I saw fans there and thought, well, maybe he was just fist pumping him, letting him know he's having a good time.
It's Stu. I wouldn't put it past him one bit.
He gave me a motion for an adult beverage after the race, after he hopefully continues this pace and continues to lead for him for another couple laps or another maybe 5 or 6 or so. We'll see how this one plays out. But I'll tell you what's interesting to me looking at live timing and scoring here, as we do have to check and see, and here it is, Jack Walker, your overall leader out of that XC2 class. He looks with an elapsed time of 24 minutes and 49 seconds. That's going to give him 11 plus another 13 seconds, 24-second lead over, there you see the lap times on screen, a 24-second lead over Stu Baylor on elapsed time, and that is significant. Looks like we have the number 21, the 587 of Lane Whitmer in. Looks like possibly a rear wheel swap or something going on here. This is one of the top riders in that 258 class. No, that's not a rear wheel swap. They've got that T-handle out. Almost looks like they're going to be changing a brake caliper, if I had to guess. They've got there you go, full brake system going on. And they are going to swap out the full rear brake system. That'll be changing the master cylinder, the pedal. Well, actually, they'll probably pull the pin, keep the pedal, but they'll pull the master cylinder, the caliper, the line. And you can see they've already got it, the new one going on, so a very quick swap. Wow. A little bit of ISD training here. These guys have to practice this stuff because they actually get timed on how quickly they can do it and kind of rated so that the mechanics know how quickly each rider can do things so if they have time to do. So Lane actually probably knows down to the second or within a few seconds how long it will take him to do that. But looking at our overall running order there, man, 4 XC2 riders in the top 5 overall. the more things change, the more they stay the same, it seems.
It sure is. And I expect Jack Walker to, after seeing him working his way up through that XC1 pack. I knew Walker was going to be up in the mix here in this one. However, Tino, Cleveland, and Johnson, they have rocketed themselves up into that 3rd, 4th, and 5th overall positions, and wasn't personally expecting that here to start this one out. So going to be a day where the XC2 has came to play.
Yeah, we see a couple of our top 8 riders, Hunter Smith, Cooper Jones, and Chase Landers, very close to home race for him, all inside the top 20 overall. Hunter Smith, Cooper Jones. I messed this up before. Hunter Smith is in that 250A class.
Yes, he's been having a great run.
I thought he was in Open A because I think he ran that class last year. But
and actually, I just got a text from Taylor Jones, who's watching. That 9.5 we saw earlier is Hunter Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, and he has that because he lost part of his finger. He has 9.5 fingers. So
there we go. Makes sense.
Pretty
number
cool.
950.
Wow. Pretty cool little.
So number 950 with a 9.5 got a decimal point in there. So 9.5 fingers out there leading the overall amateur at the moment, and that 250A class. Cooper Jones in the number 2 spot, and Chase Landers at his home race there in the number 3 spot. And those are all 3 out of that 250A class and leading the way in the overall amateur race at the moment. But leading the way on track physically, it is Stu Baylor, sitting in the number 2 position overall, but he is continuing to open up just a little bit of a gap over Jordan Ashburn. You see some different lines there. And next we look for the number 342 of Craig DeLong on that Rockstar Racing Husqvarna, getting a little slideways there. Mike Witkowski, there is Ben Kelly, and looks like Caleb Russell just behind him. Looks like there might be.
Kelly was to the rear wheel.
Yeah. Ryder Lafferty still hanging tough, keeping up with the lead group. And Josh Strang is still holding Grant Davis at bay. And also Liam Draper, last round's number 2 place finisher with, man, how about that rear tire, guys? We talked about it a little bit after the show, but that was, look at this guy. He is now almost to the lead pack from that XC2 class. Jack Walker is absolutely flying.
This could be a big day here for Jack Walker, no doubt. And speaking of that tire there with Liam Draper, I think we were actually able to catch up with him and talk to him a little bit about it from his own words. There wasn't much left at all of it. Let's hear what Liam had to say about it.
The decision I actually grew up doing trials, so I kind of know a good bit about the trials tire, and just knowing how rocky that place was going to be, and I know a few other guys have made it last at snowshoe, so I was like, man, I've never tried it on an off-road bike, so I got one that week and I tried it and rode, I put 5 hours on one and it barely looked warm, so I was like, oh, it should be good for 3 hours. But in the first 5 laps it was like glue. I could put my bike wherever I wanted. I could cut in the inside, and I think that's how I made my passes. And yeah, it felt good, but yeah, evidently it fell apart. I think it fell apart more so on the braking than it did accelerating.
And there he is on screen right now. And that's interesting to hear there from Draper, that he was able to put 5 hours on one and not seeing near as much damage as what he did there in that 3-hour races. Now, the man on the move, Jack Walker, makes his way through and hop-skipping his way through those rocks. Man, I really like the way he did that section right there. But
very Jet Lawrence-esque.
That was cool. And going back to Draper with that tire, well, getting to talk to some of the fans after the race, and they were talking about how they had some younger family members that were riding on the 85 side of things, and they said, I want you to get to where you can run a tire completely out like that in 3 hours of racing. So I think that just goes to show, especially after hearing Draper about the 5-hour thing, just how hard he was pushing there at that last round.
Yeah, if you've never ridden a trials tire, they're absolutely phenomenal. And I don't blame Liam the least bit for trying that. They are a bit softer. That's definitely came into play for him. But like you said, he rode it for 5 hours and it didn't wear like that. So it is a little bit different when you're in a race situation.
Well, there was a lot of discussion about that coming into this weekend, and even yesterday talking to some of the guys. I spoke with Liam yesterday and spoke with a number of the other riders as far as the tire selection for today. And for those of you sitting at home that think this is just something we fought around about during the show, you should be here at the track. I mean, all the discussion on Saturday and even Sunday morning with these dirt bike guys is which tire is that, what's this guy running, what's that guy. When I say all of them, some are just like, hey man, there's Jigs Festini, our 4-stroke A-Lights leader, and Braden Baisley, getting a nice shot of those guys coming through this rock garden here. That looks like it is the number 1 and 2 riders in, and there is Brody Amos, the 3rd place rider in that 4-stroke A-Lights class. So those guys charging their way through here at the 1 mile marker. But when you look at these rock gardens and you see just how challenging some of these sections are, you know, a little bit of extra grip goes a long way, but then it's that balance of if this tire is awesome for 2 hours or even 2.5 hours, but then it looks like Liam's tire does at the end of the last race where there's no knobs left on it whatsoever. He himself said the bike was just absolutely unrideable in certain sections. Parts of the track, that tire and that carcass is so soft it actually still gets grip. But when you get into stuff like this here where there's silt and you don't have knobs, there's nothing to bite. So it's that balance of making the choice of something that works well but is going to last the whole race. And it's all these guys talk about. You see Jordan Ashburn here in the number 2 spot, still giving chase to Stu Baylor. Still about the same gaps. Craig DeLong charging hard, trying to close that gap up. There's Witkowski in the number 4 spot. Looks like now Caleb Russell has gotten around Ben Kelly up to the number 5 spot. Kelly there in the number 6 spot. They have distanced themselves now just a little bit from Josh Strang running in 8th. They've gotten, now he has gotten around Ryder Lafferty and then Grant Davis and Liam Draper giving chase.
Should be Jack Walker here
real
making
quick.
his way through. Yes, and there he is right on time.
Yeah, there's no question. He still has the overall lead. That was a very strange line there, but he made it work out.
Slowed up a bit.
Yeah, he did a little extra chicane there. He wants to give these guys a fair shot. He's catching them so quickly. He doesn't want to ride right up on them and scare them.
Yeah, I don't know if that was one of those 2-stroke lines I was talking about.
No, it wasn't. That was a mistake for sure.
And so popping ahead here to our Yamaha Racing Live Drone where we're going to follow along with Stu Baylor as well as Jordan Ashburn. I have to feel like Jordan Ashburn, I know I talked about it a little bit in our show opener, but I have to feel like he is very, very fired up coming into this weekend with it being here in his home state as now we're mixing our way through in the XC2 class. And look at this. They are now starting to get up into the XC1. Looks like the whole crew going to be coming with them here for our XC2 riders. Seeing Tino, Cleveland, all making their way by, as well as Reardon. Reardon possibly picking up a few spots there. We'll wait for our next camera shot to tell. But going back to Jordan Ashburn there, always a well-spoken, nice guy, but I have to feel like this weekend he is going to be representing that 3-well, kind of the intimidator coming into this one. Going to have a rockier course here today. Coming off a win at our last round and being in the home state, I'm sure everybody knows that Jordan Ashburn has came here to play.
Yeah, he might be here to rattle a cage or two. You know, there's your third part for it.
There we go. There we go. And doing it right now as he runs in that second place spot aboard that number 3 machine. Craig DeLong still with the tow rope out. And then seeing the 8 machine making his way by. Mike Witkowski. Ben Kelly now on screen.
Big shakeups here early. There is Josh Strang. And then it's Grant Davis still trying to charge his way back through the pack. And Ryder Lafferty and Liam Draper here at the 4-mile marker. The big thing to me at the end of lap number 1, looking at those splits, I mean, the gaps were 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 4 seconds. I mean, they were just, Jack Walker is absolutely flying.
Man,
I'm going to stop mid-sentence to point that out. I looked up and it was like a blur across the screen. The number 19 Liquid Moly Factory Beta, Jack Walker, is on another level today, and he is absolutely shredding, showing by the fact that he's leading the overall by at last calculation on 24 seconds after 1 lap of racing. That is Grant Davis 2025 stuff right there.
Yes, there goes Jason Tino now making his way through.
Toby Cleveland. Grant Baylor.
And Gus Reardon. All checking in through here at the mile 4 marker. And there goes Johnson now making his way by. So Reardon able to pick up that spot there from Johnson. Going to put Johnson back into what, the 5th place spot now.
Worth noting on screen there, that is Chris Landers, the property owner here from the Old Gray. And his son Chase is actually out there racing, currently sitting in the number 3 spot, although his pit board said P2, so he may have made a pass. Said P2 minus 20 when he walked past that last camera shot.
Eagle eye.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on these things, man. That's how you get the context clues. But we'll see how that shakes out for Chase today. But a big shout out to Chris Landers and the Landers family, making us feel very welcome here this weekend at the Old Gray for year number 3. And we see one of our sweepers. Was that sweep?
I believe that was DJ Judd.
DJ Judd?
Out and about with us today.
Is he on your bike, Jared?
No, actually, that is DJ Judd's personal.
Okay.
Yes, we make him bring his own.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that was an old sweep bike he bought a few years ago.
All right. Well, DJ Judd out there, not only can he bring the beats, he can also bring the heat out there.
He sure can.
He's got all the moves, both in and out of the DJ booth. out there. Looked like he was checking in with Ryan Ballou there, who's Caleb Russell's mechanic. We see some of our media team down there on the left taking some photos and video, making sure they get all the shots out there here at the FMF PowerPoint.
Yeah, you know, DJ Judd's not going to fly through there. He's not going to set the world on fire, but the dude can ride.
He sure can. He really can. All jokes aside.
That is
I love
probably
DJ Judd. He's a good
probably
guy.
one of the most interesting men in the world.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Oh, very, very helpful here at GNCC.
He should. Okay, he should. Fair enough. All right, waiting here at the FMF PowerPoint, lap number 2 at the 5-mile marker. You can see the who's who of the factory XC1 and XC2 mechanics waiting on this man right here. Stu Baylor coming through in the lead on that 514 machine, that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC. But Jordan Ashburn still giving chase. And Craig DeLong has now closed up the gap almost to the rear wheel of Ashburn there. Then it is the number 8 of Mike Witkowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Caleb Russell giving chase as well on that Ampro Yamaha.
And after a rough start there for Caleb Russell, having to come to a complete stop of that hay bale, he has made up some serious ground. Ben Kelly now going to be following behind. And look at that, Grant Davis makes his way through.
And gotten around Josh Strang and opened up a gap very quickly.
So there goes Strang now with Lafferty and Draper all flying in formation. But as we were now seeing, look at this, guys. The 19 machine is now physically with that group from the XC1 class.
I'll tell you what, we can start building hype up. If he's able to catch that lead group, if he can get with that group of, right now it's Draper in front of him with Ryder Lafferty and also Josh Strang. If he's able to get with them and they close that gap back to that lead group of 5 or 6, he can just pretty much ride on cruise control because he's got that full advantage of that minute, because very cautious now to try to make that full minute. But look at this, Gus Reardon on the charge has now caught Toby Cleveland and also Brody Johnson, or no, Jason Tino. And there is Grant Baylor coming through. So this could be an interesting one, folks. It is definitely starting to heat up out here on track.
It most definitely is an interesting one, as we have an XC2 in the top spot here right now. Physically leading the way, Stu Baylor having a good run so far. With that man right behind him, what we're going to be calling the Intimidator here today, Jordan Ashburn, trying to get the job done in his home state. He took the win at the last round. Are we going to see our first 2-time winner here today? Or is it going to be 6 different winners in 6 races? We're just going to have to stick around and see here on Racer TV. Plenty more racing to go here in this pro bike race at the Specialized Old Grade GNCC. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Racer TV.
Hey race fans! Gear Bicycles is on hand today with the all-new Gen 4 Specialized Levo. They also have great deals on Gen 3 Levos and used bikes. Stop by their booth and see for yourself how fun it could be riding around these GNCC hills. Gear Bicycles is sponsored by Progressive. When you stop by their booth, you can find out why it's important to insure your e-bike, dirt bike, ATV, or RV. Once again, thanks for being here today, and enjoy your day.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 left, the main event, the Mud, the Blood, the Beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that, because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round 6 of the 2026 Progressive GNCC racing season. Taking a look at some of the beautiful scenery we have here in Monterey, Tennessee. That was B-Rock, but we're here in the Racer TV studios with somebody that was on the top step of the box earlier today. Brandy Richards, our WXC winner from just a few hours ago, able to join us here in the Racer TV truck. Brandy, thank you for the time. Let's talk a little Old Gray racing. What was it like out there?
Oh, man, it was tough. It's definitely super rocky here. We got a little bit of rain last night, so it made it definitely slippery the first lap. Anywhere the minis weren't, it was icy. So it was a little treacherous the first lap, but after that, it was good. And definitely technical. You have a lot of technical rock sections. They threw in a really good bike-only section for us, which was definitely challenging with the lappers, but it was good. You got out of the rock sections, and you got into some more flowing trails that were fast. You were just sprinting the whole time, so it was definitely a good track.
Yeah, and we can see it right here on our Racer TV recap. Yourself and Danielle McDonald, kind of a table for two at the front of the field with Corey Steed and Taylor Jones early on trying to chase you down. But, man, really seemed like you and Danielle were going back and forth in kind of a yo-yo. We'd hear at times you were wheel to wheel, sometimes some space between you. Like you talk about the technicality side of this Old Gray round, really been a talking point all season long.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. We really struggled with the lappers. It was kind of luck how you got into them, and being behind, it's usually easier to be behind, but this one, it was like the lappers would get out of the first person's way and then jump right into you, trying to get past them in the second place. But it was challenging. I definitely struggled with the lappers. I mean, so did Danielle. It was tough. I mean, I know they're just trying to make it around this track. It's definitely technical, and so they have a hard time getting out of the way, and we have a hard time going around them. But it was challenging.
Did the best you could with the situation. Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, we were talking just a few weeks ago out in Kentucky. Similar conditions in the sense of rocks and technicality. A bit slower overall speed out here this weekend. Was this a course that you felt like developed throughout the race and got increasingly better, or we started to lose the track a little bit? Because hearing on the podium, a little bit of both. Seems like some racers really get comfy after those first couple laps out here.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it got better. The first lap was so icy, especially where the minis didn't go, and it definitely got better. And then I feel like you get some of the afternoon guys that go out there and they open up their lines. So then you could see those lines, and you get some good hot lines, and it develops really well. I thought it got better each lap.
Now, take us through. We saw you right when you were taking the white flag, yourself and Danielle wheel to wheel. I believe Danielle actually leading when we took the white flag. Take us through that final pass and how we got the job done to bring it on home for the checkered.
Yeah, I definitely had some run-ins with some lappers the last lap, so I was a little behind and just sprinting. And I believe like the last mile, she came in contact with a tree and kind of made it easy for me. I got a little lucky, but just rode it into the finish.
Hey, if you get a gift handed to you, you got to take it, right?
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
No doubt about it. Now, here in the afternoon race, Brandy, we would love some expertise here as far as what we're seeing right now. Stu Baylor physically out front, Jack Walker out of that XC2 class making some statements right now. What are your thoughts that we're going to see here over the next hour or so? Any big riders that you've got kind of your eye on you think are going to succeed in these kinds of conditions?
Yeah, I think Stu will be really good. I feel like he's always really good here, and he's just he's a bad dude in the rocks. I think the rocks move for him when he comes
right.
And then Jordan Ashburn, he's always good in the technical stuff, and I know Craig's a good rock rider, so it'll be a good race. I think it'll be challenging for him, and just see who kind of stays going.
And Jackson, we've been talking about this all day long. We had almost a photo finish, certainly some photos taken in our youth race this morning. A great finish here in our morning AM bike race. And then now I'm expecting the same thing. We talked about the depth of the field that we have in all of our top classes. The list goes on and on as far as riders we could see potentially steal this win away, including going down into the XC2 class as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And right now it is looking like the XC2 class might have more than just that top spot wrapped up. So we'll have to see. But while we have you here, Brandy, we were just in Kentucky, and that seemed like such a brutal, rocky course. How does this one fare just as far as the rock goes? Do you think this is anywhere near what we saw in Kentucky, or different style rocks?
It's definitely different style rocks. It's got that super hard base, especially after the ATV. So a lot of the rocks are like embedded, and then you have like these giant slabs of rocks that are just, if you catch an edge the wrong way, they'll just grab your front wheel, and they're like slippery here. They're kind of mossy, especially with that rain. They're definitely a little bit more slick, and sometimes you can't tell the difference between like a rock, like just a giant slab of rock, and the dirt, and the rocks are definitely a little bit slipperier, so it's challenging, and I think it's a little bit more technical, definitely a lot slower. And today, without having any dust, it's man, it's easy to just want to go as fast as you can, but it's definitely a fine line out there.
Now, one of the things that you've talked about a lot is that hard pack. We already had a hard pack base, then you go and throw a couple hundred quads on top of it. As far as the riding style goes, do you guys adjust how you enter some of these corners? We see Stu Baylor kind of sliding his way into this, banging off some of those berms, and then other riders, a lot of it depending on tire choice as well, really tucking to those insides and setting things up. How are you having to adjust your your riding style, I should say, in these kinds of conditions?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging for us. You know, being in the morning, like the berms are still good from the quads, so if it's super icy, like we're just finding the berms to turn off of. For these guys, it's pretty blown out by the time they get to it, so they can adjust and hit those insides, and it's also not as slippery. So it's just kind of like, you just kind of read the track, how it's going, and know when something's blown out, or if it's almost blown out, and you come up to it, and you just got to remember it the next lap. But for these guys, I think they could start taking some insides, but a lot of the berms are still really good.
One of the things we always talk about, Jackson, not only are they going insane speeds, but the amount of thought process that goes into kind of dissecting this track, and lap after lap as well, Brandon. You can talk about that. I mean, what works here on lap one oftentimes is not even close to what you're taking by the time the white flag's fly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I have a hard time remember it when I'm biking, but after the first lap, I'm like, okay, you know exactly what lines are going to work, and you just have to kind of remember what to hit, what not to hit. You definitely won't be perfect every lap because it's such a long track to try to remember every little line, but you try to take mental notes of where to check up and catch a nice inside line, or just something smoother, or just a little bit more straight.
I'm interested to see how the lapper's going to play into this after hearing from you, Brandy, at how much trouble you ladies had earlier today. And I don't think going to be quite as many people on the course here in this PM race as there was in the AM race with y'all, but nonetheless, I'm interested now after hearing all of this about the lappers on how it's going to play into effect with them. I think one of the main things that causes that is just how fit you ladies are and how you're able to continue to I feel like you get faster sometimes on the last lap or on the closing laps, where everybody else out there, it's a game of survival at that point. You're looking for an exit. You're looking for a fire road just to head back to the pits while you ladies are still in full force, and I'm sure that's what we're going to see in this PM race as well. These guys, they're not going to back down for the entirety of this race. And take a look at this.
Yep.
Stu Baylor able to overtake that lead. Brandy might have it figured out.
I'm telling you what, you'd be a fool to bet against Stu. I know he is very fired up after some difficult results, or lack thereof, I should say, coming up to it. There's our very own Joey Nachi making his way through. I heard that was a last-second decision to go race. He had some bike issues in that final few minutes before he headed down to the line. DJ Judd helping him out there. But we take a look at our last lap time. Stu Baylor with a 22:49, identical lap time almost to Jordan Ashburn, and then Jack Walker just a little bit off the pace that last lap, a 23:17. Got to wonder, and Brandy, you can touch on this as well. Seems like this is an easy track, like you said, to get almost over-eager and overexcited. You get going fast. All it takes is that one rock, that one little bump that you didn't account for, and it can cost you big time.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to override it, and it's so different. Like, you get into the rock sections, you have to be very patient because they are slippery, but then you get into the stuff that doesn't have rocks and it's more flowy, you can go really fast. So it's hard to make that change from being precise in the rocks and then just trying to go as fast as you can in the smoother stuff.
Taking a look, there he is, the man, the myth, Stu Baylor, with Jordan Ashburn hot on his heels.
That's the closest we've saw Jordan Ashburn in quite some time.
Yeah, Ashburn on the charge, no doubt about it. And here comes Craig DeLong as well. Another solid start for Craig. He's been stacking consistent starts, starting up inside that top five, and coming off the podium. You could tell that was a monkey off the back for him, as now we see Mike Wachowski. Here comes Caleb Russell making his way through as well.
You know what I thought was amazing earlier watching this section is now we see Ben Kelly and Grant Davis making their way by. Two of the factory KTM riders, just like Brandy Richards, but we saw one of our riders barely getting kicked there in one of those sections, and that was a big deal to me and Johnny, and that's how good these riders are. They're just a small kick, and we take notice of it, able to keep straight through those rock sections. Randy, do you think this rock garden here, as we see Draper headed into it right now, is this going to be one of the tougher sections, or is there some more sneaky sections out there that we don't see?
There's definitely some more sneakier stuff out there. This one's a pretty good one, but it's pretty short. But once you get towards, I'd say like mile 4, 5, 6, that's technical and it's super turning. Well, like this is just kind of straight. The other stuff, you have to like turn into it, and it's real tight. Like if you're behind someone, it's hard to get out of the way. And that bike only section is pretty technical.
Now, Brandon, we've talked about kind of your
Look at that, a pass. Sorry, Zach.
No, you're good. Who was it?
It was Reardon making the pass. How about that? Right at the end of our camera shot. And look at this.
Ooh, Stu is pushing, and Jordan Ashburn is pushing just as hard, if not harder. And it looked like Stu having to dab the foot there. So Ashburn on the charge, maybe just a little more pace. And looked like Craig DeLong communicating with, almost looked like our camera operator. Maybe there's a Husky team personnel member right next to him, but sounds like potentially some issues there for DeLong, unless maybe was informing about somebody else out there.
Yeah, possibly so.
There is Ben Kelly. Okay, I was about to say Grant Davis was right on his rear wheel. What I was saying, Brandon, you kind of West Coast-based rider moving over here. These mossy type rocks, I should say, that kind of technicality. Is that something that you've had to train for, to kind of get used to over here on the East Coast?
It's definitely something I've had to learn, just try to just get the technique of it. I mean, riding rocks is definitely its own technique, but when you throw in when they're slippery, like West Coast, you could just hit any rocks, right, and you'll just go ride over them. But here, you hit them the wrong way, and man, you're going to go for a ride, take your front wheel out. So it's definitely learning where to be patient and where you can actually like hit them pretty good.
That's what always amazes me, at how straight these riders, the top riders, whether it's in the WXC, XC1, XC2, straight as an arrow through most of these sections. Like what we're seeing now, as Reardon has made his way around Tino, and Cleveland also has made his way around Tino. So now it's going to be Reardon chasing after Cleveland with Tino in tow of those two.
Here we go. So the battle in the XC2 class is on. All of them chasing Jack Walker. Well, Brandy, thank you for making the time for us here, kind of breaking things down from a first-person perspective, and congratulations on yet another WXC win.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, that is Brandy Richards here, your factory KTM WXC winner from earlier today. And always so nice for us, Jack. So we do a lot of speculating, right? Easy to kind of see things from the finish line, even here on the Racer TV camera. But man, to have somebody that's actually been there and done that time and time again, Brandy, not only great on the bike, but great at breaking things down for us as well.
Yeah, she sure is. It's great to get some insight on with some riders that have actually been out there and done it, Zach, and seeing some riders that are doing it right now. Johnson making his way by, and we did see Whitmer there broken down once again. So the troubles continue for one of our A-class riders. Tough break for him here today.
Yeah, and that did look like it was Lane Whitmer once again. So that is a tough break right there. There you see Whitmer.
Rear brake again is what we're being told.
So an absolute heartbreak.
Man, hard on the brakes here today. I wonder what could be going on with that machine.
Well, yeah, and that brings up a lot of different questions. Maybe something built up on the machine.
Exactly.
Maybe, you know, again, though, as crazy as it sounds, it could very easily just be, man, I smashed a rock twice. And it's a crazy coincidence that maybe a same problem on the same machine twice. But nonetheless, a tough day gets even tougher for Lane Whitmer as he is back in the pits. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Jordan Ashburn taking up the entire rear view mirror for Stu Baylor. No question if he's there. And whatever Craig DeLong was saying to our camera operator, it does not seem to have slowed him down, as Caleb Russell and Mike Wachowski might have caught up a little bit, but looked like Craig was right back on the charge.
It did. It looked like the intensity was high with all those riders making their way through. This is exactly what we were talking about with Brandy just a minute ago. These riders get faster and faster as things go on, as now Kelly and Davis going to be making their way by.
The diesel's getting warmed up.
The diesel. Yeah, we've seen the last several races, we've seen Ben Kelly kind of keep himself in the fight and staying comfortable when some of the other riders are pushing at pace or in conditions he's not super comfortable with. Been rewarded through the first 5 rounds by keeping that points lead, but we've seen that points lead continuing to come down through the last couple of rounds. So definitely needing to make some moves here, get himself up in the mix. There we did see Liam Draper come through. There is Josh Strang. And a couple of lap riders working their way through. Back to the front, Stu Baylor making dust, and Jordan Ashburn eating that dust. Look at this now, Craig DeLong right to the rear wheel of Ashburn. So a little change there. DeLong maybe sensing that pressure from behind from the 5.57 of Caleb Russell and also the number 8 of Wachowski, and really picking up the pace, and now he's right back to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn.
Yeah, Johnny, when we were chatting with Brandon, we caught a camera shot there of Craig DeLong. He was yelled over. It looked like he was either talking to the folks at home as the KTM boys get a little slideways action there. But whatever it was, he got figured out and is charging back forward. So we thought maybe a problem for DeLong, but looking pretty good right now.
Let's take a look here as our next rider pops out the woods and see maybe here, Zach, if that wasn't something in the course that caused those riders to have to go sideways. Here we go.
I think it's a little bit of silt on the inside there where the dust is starting to build up. It looked like they tried to cut that inside to get some better grip and ended up with not as much grip. You can see that dust really kicking up there, very soft section. The other thing, too, is I think that is an off-camber that we're not seeing from the drone. It looks like it's just a flat corner. It actually is an off-camber left-hand turn. Here comes your leaders again there. Kowski and Russell giving chase to...
Did we see Craig?
Yes, DeLong was right there on the rear wheels of Ashburn, and it looks like Ashburn slowly but surely starting to lose sight of Stu Baylor. So that's how fast things change here as Ben Kelly back on screen with Grant Davis just behind him. And today's the type of day where I feel like Baylor and Davis both just need to try to get those machines to the line, but we know I don't think that's what either one of them have on their mind.
No, and I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, statements. That's what these guys are looking to do. You know, looking at the points, obviously with still so many rounds left, only 5 rounds down. There we see Liam Draper coming by. Still 8 rounds remaining coming into today. It's possible, but each of them, as far as they are out of the points, it's a long shot at this point. You need to just start winning races. So I think they're going to throw caution to the wind and not so much worry about, you know, being consistent. They just want wins at this point. Stu Baylor right now making it look like he's in a position to do just that. We did just see Jack Walker, our second place overall rider, come through there on that beta machine 2-stroke. And there is Ryder Lafferty. Look, his front number plate was a little bit askew there. He may have gone down. And now Gus Reardon, Jason Tino, and Toby Cleveland have definitely closed up that gap to Jack Walker for sure.
Well, like we've said, whether it's the Moto Tees t-shirt or whether it's our friends over at the Grind Coffee Bar, Jordan Ashburn's got his very own latte named after him. We were able to catch up with the number 3, talk about being right here in his home state race.
This is a home race for me. This is super close, and it's definitely terrain I'm used to riding a lot and fairly comfortable in. So, yeah, just try not to override the track today. This track last year I kind of overrode it a little bit, and it got me, so broke my bike. So try to keep the bike on 2 wheels today and race the track and really focus on the track, and that'll be the key for the day for me. And just try to end up on the box at the end of the day. That's my goal, and we'll see where we come out.
So great stuff to hear from Jordan. And always, some people look at the home state, the hometown, as a little bit of extra added pressure, but I think Jordan kind of a fan of it. He embraces having the local community behind him. And not only is he just trying to get in a good result, he's in the middle of a points battle as well. We were able to catch up with the number 3, talk about trying to bring this fight right to the points lead.
Yeah, you know, it's really tied with the points this year so far, and you know, just take it race by race. That's all it is. Not looking for the long end goal right now. You know, it's just taking it race by race and trying to put as many points on the board as we can at those bad races. You know, we've had a couple bad ones this year, and we're just trying to minimize the damage at those, and you know, we'll try to do the best we can at the ones we're good at.
Well, there you go. Jordan Ashburn talking about how tight those points are. Almost sounded like he said the points are tied. And there may have been a little mathematical discrepancy there. Normally our points leader runs reverse plates with the red number white background, and that would be obviously Ben Kelly right now. Jordan Ashburn running that reverse plate this weekend. Jared, any perspective on that one?
Yeah, we'll leave it at there was an error, okay. and those guys caught it, and it'll be fixed from here on out.
Fair enough. Okay. All right.
Well, how about that?
I thought maybe it was a psychological thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that too. I mean, absolutely.
Saying, like, hey, I want my share of this points lead, so I'm just going to go ahead and claim it. Not something Jordan would ever do out of disrespect. But hey, head games are head games, man.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and I would do the exact same thing.
What they call it, speaking it into existence.
That's right.
Making it happen.
Yep.
So hanging here at the FMF PowerPoint, the 5-mile mark. As the battle rages on, Jordan Ashburn bringing the fight to Stu Baylor here at the front of the XC1 field. Here comes Liam Draper on that Ampro Yamaha. Just came up short of the win, but man, got to think the confidence jumped up a little bit. And that was Jack Walker. I knew he was behind Josh Strang, so the 2 Liqui Moly Betas
You know, Josh Strang, never happy to be passed, but he's got to be happy that Jack Walker is riding so well up in those podium positions. So he's going to probably try to latch onto him and see if he can drag him back to the front.
Go get him, man. See what you can do. No doubt about it. Jack Walker marching towards the front. There is Gus Reardon, Jason Tino, and Toby Cleveland. We're right there. I believe that was actually Ryder Lafferty. There is Tino and Toby Cleveland. So those
Right
XC2 trios still relatively close. They flip-flopped more than a few times. All right, well, we're going to grab a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be back with more Specialized Old Gray GNCC Racing. All of it going to be right here live on RacerTV.com.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to beautiful Monterey, Tennessee, as we are here at the Specialized Old Gray GNCC. And old Stu Baylor looking mighty strong as he has reeled things back out just a little bit on Jordan Ashburn, who now finds himself under pressure from the Rockstar Husky of Craig DeLong. Caleb Russell trying to get up into the party as well. And looks like here comes Mike Wachowski in the mix.
We'll expect to see the big #1 of Ben Kelly and also the #2 of Grant Davis. And it is still Kelly leading the way of the two KTM Red Bull KTM athletes. But look at this. Now we've lost Grant Davis. Possibly a mistake here, but he was right on Ben Kelly's rear wheel just a moment ago when we went to break. So a big change there. And he is going to need to really get on the gas and make up some time, which he's already had to do once in this race, being on the ground in turn #2. And as I continue talking and end this clock, I hate to say the thoughts creeping in, but it has been a tough year for Grant Davis. And it looks like this might be him coming now, and it is not.
So how about it? There is, Liam Draper and then Jack Walker, the XC2 kid, marching his way forward. What could have happened to Grant Davis?
Josh Strain,
As each bike comes into frame and time continues to tick away, you can't help but think the unthinkable. Has something happened to Grant Davis again?
Is this Davis? No, that's Jason Tino now. So Tino back on the charge, trying to bring the fight to Gus Reardon. Ryder Lafferty making his way through on the Honda. As we continue to watch and wait for that number 2. Now flash forward, getting word from our spotter, Hollywood, still no sign of Grant Davis. We'll keep you updated as we hear. Meanwhile, things getting mighty close between Stu Baylor, Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong, and Caleb Russell. We'll throw Mike Wachowski into that mix as well.
It seems like there's, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like there's a lot of seesawing going on. Certain sections of the track, some riders are losing ground, and then just as quickly as we say, they're losing ground, they need to get going, boom, they're right back in the fight. Not a lot of lapped riders, and even Ben Kelly is really hanging back here, still within striking distance. We know the diesel gets stronger as the race goes on, so certainly can't count him out, meaning 5 riders still very much in the mix for this win right now. And then we've got our XC2 once we calculate in that time. But I'm going to tell you right now, I really honestly believe that the pace these front riders are pushing is going to continue to mix up that overall. Jack Walker is still very much in it, but they're starting to creep away, at least it looks like on screen. We'll have a official live timing and scoring update here in just a few moments.
Well, and I think back to 2025, Grant Davis, Cody Barnes, and Gus Reardon were kind of those big top 3 in XC2 that would work their way through the XC1 class. And there were more than a few times where they said the XC1 boys weren't super stoked to see an XC2 kid try to put the machine past him. So Walker having to kind of negotiate, not only leading his class, he's got a gap, but not a ton, and also trying to put those XC1 riders behind him. We'll see whether he can use the overall pace of the class to his advantages. Through the pits we go. Stu Baylor with a little glance over. Our Yamaha Racing live drone going to pick him up.
And he sees coming the other way Jordan Ashburn. He also sees Craig DeLong, and he sees his old nemesis, the 557 of Caleb Russell there as well. So those 4 riders, and also Mike Wachowski, as we pointed out, back to the rear wheel of Russell. He has latched on, and it is those 5 riders now through that shot, and Ben Kelly should be coming into frame here any moment. Guys, as we talk about Jack Walker coming through the pits here, he's not a dog. You have to think, how confusing would it be for these XC1 riders as he's catching them? Sure, they've been caught by XC2 riders, but they're getting revved at by a 2-stroke. When's the last time they had a 2-stroke coming up from behind them, revving at them and making a pass? It might just befuddle these guys to the point where they just pull over and just to see what's going on.
What is happening?
Yeah, actually, I think you'd have to go back to when Caleb rode the 150. I think that's probably the last time that the 2-stroke was that far up in the back.
I mean, we've seen some riders ride 2-strokes in those top positions, but not coming from the XC2 class and getting okay, we are getting an update. We'll wait to fully update this, but we are getting an update that Grant Davis is somewhere before the 5-mile marker, and they are working with him. It seems that it may be a potential crash. So we'll hope that he's all right. We'll update that when we get good information, but it appears that the medics are working their way to him or are already with him, so that is definitely disappointing news for all of us. He was putting in quite a fight and quite a ride here today.
Man, so heartbreaking as well when you talk to Davis and the entire family there around that KTM crew, just wanting to be able to show what they're capable of. Really, we saw the standout rides last year out of that XC2 class, and it just seems like jumping up to the bigger machines, whether 350 or 450, is just not quite been able to show those same results. But going back to your point, man, shout out to not only Jack Walker, but the entire Liqui Moly Factory beta team. They have really been firing off here recently. I know Caleb Johnson with a fantastic ride earlier today, got on our overall podium, if I'm not mistaken, jumping over to the beta machine. So the 2-strokes, the sweet sounds and smells of 2-strokes now, they're making a comeback, and they're coming towards the front.
Well, guys, as we had kind of predicted there, looking at the overall, well, hold on now. Jack Walker back to the lead. The rest of those XC2 riders have dropped back. We're showing something different actually on screen. Oh, there, it's updated now.
Click enter.
Yep, click enter. We did get another update from our Director of Operations, Tim Cotter. They have, let me finish this before we panic. They have found Grant Davis. They are riding him out of the woods. So the fact that they're riding him out, they found him just before the bike-only section. The fact that they are riding him out leads to believe
a potential injury, but he's going to be, okay. We'll get an update on his exact situation, but not fully having to attend to him. They are bringing him out of the woods, riding him on a machine.
So. Yeah. Anytime our crew's bringing you out, it's a good sign. You're banged up, you're hurt, but you're, it's not nothing too serious.
Not great news for Grant Davis fans or his crew or any of us here that like good racing, but obviously when you hear of an injured rider, you never want to assume the worst, but when they're being ridden out on the back of the machine, it means that they're in. These guys are tough, man. Yeah. He's, depending on what the injury is, he's probably ouchie, but he's saying, get me back to the truck, we'll deal with it there.
So now watching and waiting here at the 1 mile mark, Stu Baylor continuing to try to manage this from the front, as there is your points leader, Ben Kelly. The diesel getting good and warmed up now at this point. Won't be long before I expect at least him to start marching forward. But, man, like you said, the pace that these top 5 are running, especially being as close as they are, they kind of feed off of one another. And I think that's what we saw just a few weeks ago as well. We never kind of had that fade back and then a last-minute sprint because you couldn't let off at all.
And that's what I was going to kind of comment on there is Jack Walker is now starting to put some pressure on Liam Draper in front of him. He could probably hear that two-stroke machine coming in some of these slower sections of racetrack. But Ben Kelly kind of had an advantage there for a moment because he had Grant Davis, who he knew was pushing and charging behind him. That's going to drive him forward. Now he's kind of left alone in no man's land there, where he's either going to have to find that pace to find the lead group of 5 in front of him, or he's going to have to wait until Liam Draper or potentially Jack Walker catch him to try to get that push. We know Ben Kelly can set his own pace, but guys, when you're out there racing, sometimes it's so hard when those riders in front of you have just ridden away. Not that they've put a huge gap on Ben Kelly, but it's kind of frustrating. Sometimes somebody coming up from behind you can kind of reinvigorate you. You can find some lines maybe that they have and their pace and latch onto it. Ben is so good at that, but right now he just doesn't have anybody to tag team that charge with because Grant Davis obviously going out with what we're being as a reported injury. So we'll keep that update. There is Toby Cleveland coming through, still pushing the pace, trying to track down those other XC2 riders in front of him, running in that number 4 spot.
And I think another big thing about, as we get a word there from our race control, a 7-lap race being told. So 7 laps in store for your riders. But the mental strength of somebody like a Ben Kelly, he's not easily shaken. I think even when he is off the pace, it's like he's able to take it, accept it, adjust it, and then he's still usually got an hour and a half, 2 hours left to figure out how to get that towards the front. So really impressive to see somebody like Ben Kelly put in such a great ride, kind of maintain. I think it's impressive the calmness that he shows even when things aren't going his way as well. And then very similar to some of our other top riders, when it's time, you can almost physically see it's like, oh, there's that extra gear. Now I'm moving forward.
Now it looks like Ashburn has opened up a little, well, both Baylor and Ashburn have opened up a little bit of a gap over the number 3 ride of Craig DeLong, and there is Caleb Russell. Now they have opened up a gap over the number 8 of Mike Bukowski. This is what I was talking about, that seesaw. But going back to Ben Kelly and that kind of poise and just confidence that he shows, spoke with Liam. Here it is. He's putting in a charge now, and he's closing up that gap. I was speaking with Liam Draper about that yesterday. He was out biking the track, ran into him, and, he had said Ben is just so good at managing those bad days, and he's trying to learn from that. Because you got to remember, this is a guy, 2-time champion, and he's experienced both ends of that spectrum. Ben came out in 2022, won the first 6 races. Looked like the championship was his to lose, and in fact, it ended up being due to a crash and an injury. And here we see Liam Draper charging, and also your XC2 leader of Jack Walker. Is it just me, or does it look like this guy's just effortless around the track right now?
So smooth. That was one of those 2-stroke lines over there. That's way smoother. More traction over there with the 2-stroke. That was very nice.
And there is Josh Strang, and that wasn't Gus Reardon who came through that way. But there is Gus Reardon, so he's definitely on a charge. Back to the front, Stu Baylor hopping up that rock wall, and Jordan Ashburn giving chase on that Phoenix Racing Honda. You could hear Jordan yelling, letting that lap rider know he was there. There is Craig DeLong and Caleb Russell in the front 4. We should now see the number 8 of Mike Wachowski coming as well in that number 5 spot. But Liam was giving props to Ben Kelly, but also at the same time saying, that's what I need to learn. I want to keep myself in this championship fight. He said, I don't want to make the stupid mistakes or, pitch away what could be a podium or a top 5 going for a win. Yes, I want to win races, but, with Liam, we're kind of back into that Jordan Ashburn would have been 2022 storyline of, hey, this guy's in the mix for a championship and he hasn't won a race yet. But ultimately, there's no asterisk next to a championship if you haven't won a race. Obviously, Liam has been there many times, so close, just seconds between him and a race win. But right now, his focus is keeping himself in this fight. And what a better way to learn than to watch a guy like Ben Kennedy.
No doubt about it. Speaking of which, there is the AmPro Yamaha ride. And to your point, Johnny, even since myself and Jackson have jumped on board here at GNCC, the depth of the field, there's a lot of riders that can win races, right? We've had 7, 8 different winners over the course of one season. When everybody's capable of having a really good day, it's all about those bad days, right? How many good days can you have stacking podiums, top 5s, and limiting those DNFs? So really good, really cool wisdom, and it always is cool to see the camaraderie and the way that these riders think about one another as well. Yes, there's rivalries. Yes, there's bad blood between some of them, but at the end of the day, a lot of respect, and I think each one of these riders can point out a couple of things that each rider does specifically really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it yesterday, game recognizes game.
End of the day,
and it's, that's absolutely true with these guys. You know, you may butt heads. You may not want to talk to each other, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm doing that because I respect the way that guy rides.
No doubt about it. That was Toby Cleveland making his way through. Front number plate has exited the chat, but he is still moving forward.
That is as per the Toby normal.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. He's in the flow now.
That's what, yeah, you know, I usually...
off to Toby, though.
Oh, yeah.
He was a rider that a few years ago would show, you know, blazing speed, and then he was gone. You know, we've seen a little bit more consistency out of Toby. Did miss for a few races this year with an injury, which was well publicized on social media. That was one of the gnarliest, craziest crashes I've ever seen. But he's back, that shoulder rehabbed, and he's seemingly getting stronger at fast reach race. He's in the mix for podiums here. And his dad, Sweeper Dan, out there, you know, going and having some issues of his own the last couple of races as well. So I guess maybe the kind of, I don't want to say the crashes, but the wildness runs in the Cleveland family, and things get a little hectic when those guys are on a dirt bike. But Toby doing a great job out there today, running in that number 4 spot in the XC2 class.
A little hectic, but a lot of skill.
That's right, absolutely.
Fast off the line, too. He was going for that whole shot. Yeah.
He was, I think it looked like he was mad at the banners.
Yes.
The way he just ran towards those banners like they had done something to him.
They didn't
Here
protect his dad.
Look at
That's
this.
what it
We've got a
was.
shake-up. Caleb Russell has gotten around Craig DeLong, now into the number 3 spot, and basically to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn. So the rider that was last off the line, picking his way through the pack, now up into a podium position. Oh, looks like we may have... Did somebody go down in there? There was only 3 riders that came out and 4 went in. We'll see. It was Stu. No. There's Stu. There's Jordan. There's, okay. The drone. We love the drone, but it can be so frustrating at times. These guys disappear, and you think you see something that you don't. There is Ben Kelly sitting back there in that 9th place spot, overall 6th in the XC1 class, putting on a bit of a charge we've seen for the last couple miles, trying to make up ground on the leaders. The next rider we should be waiting on should be Liam Draper, and hot on his heels is the number 19, the XC2 class leader, Jack Walker.
I tell you what, guys, this is, I think, a big race for somebody like a Caleb Russell, as there is his AmPro teammate, Liam Draper. It looks like for the moment shaking a little bit of the pressure off from Jack Walker, but maybe a lot of the pressure shaken off from Jack Walker.
There he is. Yeah, definitely a little setback, though. You got to believe, yeah, he's definitely had an issue because now he's all the way back. Josh Strang, not that Strang couldn't have put in a push, but between the time that he lost in front of him, time gained behind him, you got to believe Jack had a little miscue there.
But I think this is going to be a big day for Caleb Russell. Obviously, kind of rejoining the series not long ago, and then kind of getting back into race shape as well. Obviously, he put the time in off the machine, but race environment, a whole different scenario. I think he's got some races under his belt now. Whatever he needs to figure out, hopefully he has. He's looking fighty this morning, and looks like he's trying to fight his way right to that number 1 spot.
Well, and if you look back to 2 weeks ago, very similar situation. Caleb started pretty much dead last. I think went down in the first lap. If you saw, he was missing a handguard early on, and then fought his way through the pack in a very dusty conditions, getting himself up to that number 4 spot by the end of the race. And looking at lap times, had several of the fastest laps as the race wore on. Now up into the number 3 spot, right behind Jordan Ashburn and Craig DeLong giving chase. But still, they're all chasing Stu Baylor, and on adjusted time, they're still chasing Jack Walker. But that may be potentially developing here, as we saw Walker lose some time there as Mike Wachowski there in that number 5 spot.
At least with that camera shot, Wachowski was on fire. As we'll watch and wait. And to your point there, Johnny, yeah, got to wonder exactly how big that gap is. Seems like Baylor and Walker trade
1 second.
Yeah, okay.
Last lap was what Jack Walker had to the advantage of the elapsed time of 1 hour 10 minutes 57.2 down to the 10th of a second. Stu Baylor 1 hour 58, 1 hour 10 seconds 58.2. So 1 second exactly. With Jack having lost that time, it's really going to be tight this lap to see if he can still hang on to that overall lead.
Yeah. He's, I think, at this point, probably dropped out of there. But if he pushes, he's going to be right back up in that mix.
I would have said
and of
that
course,
last lap, but then suddenly he put in a charge.
That's what I was just about to say. Of course, I would have thought that the last time around. And of course, he's still in really good shape in the XC2 class.
And if we think back to midway through lap 3, you guys were interviewing Brandy there, but I kind of peeked over your shoulder, saw a couple clips there. At one point, it looked like the rest of that XC2 class really closed up the gap, and then Walker put in another sprint and not only bumped himself back to the top spot in the overall, but also opened up that gap over Reardon, Tino, and Cleveland, who at one point were kind of in the same camera shot.
Yeah, that trio was going at it for quite a while. Now we see it kind of being a duo between Reardon and Tino back there in the 2 and 3 spot for XC2. And kind of hard to say whether they've closed the gap up at all from Walker. Looked like Walker, at least in the moment, had stretched things back out over Josh Strang. And now going to try to close back in on the Impro Yamaha of Liam Draper. There goes Ryder Lafferty, still looking solid, and there is big old Toby Cleveland.
We'll call those two the number plate boys. You can see Ryder Lafferty's is kind of at a 45-degree angle, and Toby Cleveland's is gone altogether. Both of them have made contact with one of the many trees here on this old gray property here.
Very well could have been the same tree.
That's very possible.
There's a fan that's going to be pumped up, though. They're running to the Cleveland pit for an autograph.
I can't tell you how many times over the years, due to impact, whether it be a piece of a fender or a visor off a helmet or whatever, you lose parts, and after the race, fans come up pumped. It's a great souvenir. Will you sign this for me? And here we see, and not only missing the front number plate, but also missing the front fender. There is the machine of the number 2 of Grant Davis. Again, we are told he was ridden out of the woods by the track crew, possibly receiving some medical attention. We'll get an update when we can on Grant Davis, but still another bummer of a day for him. We'll hope that whatever the injury is, he's able to recover and be back racing with us soon, hopefully as soon as the next round in just another 2 weeks, but we'll get an update when we can.
Man, so best wishes there for Grant Davis, as hopefully the kid will be right back on that starting row here in a few weeks. But for right now, the kid at the moment is Jack Walker out of the XC2 class, continuing to push the pace, trying to hang on to that 1 second, hang on to it for dear life, and try to hang on to that overall lead.
And that really is the roadmap that Grant Davis laid out last season and even going back into 2024. Just sprint at the beginning, try to catch that XC1 group, and then ride off of their pace. But right now, Stu Baylor is pushing, and just behind him, Jordan Ashburn, Caleb Russell, and Craig DeLong giving chase. Next up should be Ben Kelly. We're going to wait and watch and see if he's been able to make up any ground in this last section of racetrack. Mike Wachowski first, and then Ben Kelly. So Wachowski has now lost the toe of that lead group just a bit.
And that's what I was going to say. Sometimes we talk about a battle actually slowing the group up, but this is, I like what you call a toe, right? Those guys, yes, they're showing a will. If an opportunity presents itself, they'll make a pass, but they're not trying to slow each other down and move them forward. So there is Ben Kelly right on cue. So the KTM got a little bit of time to make up. Going to try to catch up to at least Wachowski, and maybe the two of them can jive their way back up to this freight train at the front of the XC1 field.
I like when the lapped riders come through, you can really see just how slick the terrain is. The top riders seemingly up on the pegs, just cruising along, but that shows you how slick it is right there. Liam Draper coming through, almost losing the rear end of that machine as he is continuing to charge, trying to close up that gap to Ben Kelly in front of him. And now it is Jack Walker, again with that outside line, two-stroke lines like Jared Boltheim has coined so far here today, seemingly really just ripping out there. And then Josh Strang, his team manager, and also XC1 factory beta rider for that team, is giving chase. And there is, I think, Gus Reardon has made up some time.
Yeah, I think so as well. And opened it up just a couple of bike links on Jason Tino, like another perfect example of that yo-yo back and forth. 1 minute they're less than a bike apart, the other maybe a second or two between them. But man, that's probably the second or third camera shot. I know two-stroke lines is what you're saying, but I mean, Jack Walker looking at this entire course with a completely different eyesight than everyone else. Whether it be the two-stroke or not, he's on completely uncharted territory as far as how he's riding this.
Yeah, but you do see that outside line is just kind of smoother overall. You see the guys dancing around, going up that main line, real smooth on the outside.
No doubt about it. Smooth sailing at the moment for the XC2 two-stroke ripper Jack Walker. Looking fine right now as things are getting exciting. Stu Baylor still doing a great job of managing from the front of the field. He's had some attempts made on him by Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong, and now Caleb Russell trying to get up into the mix as well. But who's going to be able to take him down? If anybody, it's going to take everything they've got and then some. Ashburn staying cool and calm under pressure, but Caleb Russell going to start to heat things up here in the next few minutes. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be back with more Specialized Old Gray GNCC Racing.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round number 6 of the 2026 season. OPAG and Don Hampton doing a little exploring in downtown Monterey, but man, you want to talk about one of the most serious moments of the entire weekend. It is right here, Saturday night, 5 p.m. It is the Stasic E-Pee-Wee Racing. Johnny, there is nothing that gets the goosebumps going, the blood flowing more than this right here. Action-packed racing.
Absolutely action-packed racing, and a very dynamic track here this weekend that Griff Cotter and his team laid out. They actually incorporated some of the displays on Vendor Row, including the MXers for Jesus tents and also the Blue Crew tents. Griff actually hit me up and said, hey, do you care if we race through your tents? I said, that'd be awesome. So they laid it out, had these kids navigating little obstacles, no trees on the course, but there were some easy ups, and you can see full contact here in the Stasic E-Pee-Wee Racing. Hey, look at that guy. He was there. I was getting some clips for social media. Let's see the
Mohawk adds horsepower. We all know it. That was a dyno Mohawk right there. Look at that little squirt looking over. And it's a ton of fun. All jokes aside, this is one of the biggest crowds that we get all weekend long. We've got XC1 Pro riders standing beside the track. I know myself, Jackson, we love to go hang out. MXers for Jesus. This is like an hour before chapel service, and they're opening it up. Absolutely. Bring the race course right through here, and it's a ton of fun. And now what's so cool is as the Stasic generation has started to grow up, we're actually seeing multi-time, we'll call them Stasic champions, if you will, moving up into full-size motorcycles in our micro ranks, and the racecraft that they already have, how comfortable they are charging into corners, sliding the back ends out. It really is changing the way that young athletes like that young lady right there enter into the world of motorcycle and off-road racing.
Well, and if you look at some of the Stasic riders of the past currently competing in those youth ranks, you've got riders like Crew Russell, Sean Remington Jr. that have gone out there and dominated those Stasic races, now racing in our youth ranks and winning in 65 and 85 classes. I'm sure if you look further ahead, there's probably some riders even in the afternoon race that had previously competed in Grant Davis might have raced a Stasic. There's no way to know.
Jackson
for sure.
Burrell has tried.
Yes, I have. They've got a new size.
He's the right size. There we go. Stu Baylor coming in. He is headed into the Rocky Mountain ATV MC pits. Got the mechanic with the fuel looking like got some fresh goggles, and also Jordan Ashburn in and out of those Phoenix Racing Honda pits and right back to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor.
Got a pretty cool shot of it right there. Stu Baylor actually running a helmet, giving a big shout out to T-Rex Nick DeFeo. Got the 246 T-Rex design on it. Obviously Nick having a pretty significant injury in off-season training leading up to our last round. And
here.
Oh, was it here?
This is what happened.
Yeah. And so he was saying, I want to be out there and I want to have T-Rex with me. So pretty cool from Stu.
Yeah, very cool. And now Mike Witkowski in and out of the Phoenix Racing Honda pit. There's Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong. They definitely lost some time in the pits there. They came in pretty well together, and by the time they left out, they definitely did separate there. Ben Kelly in and out of those FMF Red Bull KTM pits there, and in pursuit of the lead group of 5 ahead of him. Starting to make a little bit of ground on Mike Witkowski. And interesting point from Keith Obermeyer, one of our had an Obermeyer racing team for many years, watching the races from home, saying that Jack Walker, at least in his belief or understanding, has to pit every 2 laps on that 2-stroke. So with it being a 7-lap race, that would mean he's going to have to pit 4 times, I guess, because if he can't go 3 laps, he would have to pit 4 times. And here he is again in the pits, and that could potentially be costing him some time.
Look at those leaves on the top of his helmet there. Wow.
He's trying to blend in with the surroundings so the riders don't know he's coming up behind him.
Exactly. Keep the live drone confused. Josh Strang gets a splash of fuel, and he is headed back out into the woods. Johnny, what are you seeing over on timing and scoring?
5 riders now checked in with 4 laps complete. They have officially passed the halfway point here. This will be a 7-lap race. And the leaders on screen, you see, obviously, Stu Baylor has checked in. Jordan Ashburn checked in 1.4 seconds behind. Then 8.2 seconds back to Caleb Russell in the number 3 spot. And Craig DeLong 1 second behind Caleb Russell there in the number 4 spot. So Russell and DeLong need to make up a few seconds if they want to get back in that fight. And then 16 seconds back to Mike Witkowski in the number 5 spot. Ben Kelly has now checked in, also 25 seconds behind Mike Witkowski. So we see Russell on screen there, and then flashing back to our leader Baylor and Jordan Ashburn giving chase. Man, Jordan Ashburn really starting to look more and more comfortable with each camera shot. It seems like he's almost stalking Stu Baylor back there in the number 2 spot.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. It really doesn't seem like he's trying to show a wheel. Doesn't look like he's flirting with trying to make a pass. He's just comfortably setting in that number 2 ride. Patience been one of the biggest things attributed to Jordan Ashburn. As Johnny, you just pointed it out. Look at this. Hold on, Craig DeLong trying to slingshot around Caleb Russell. As a little bit of separation now between 1 and 2, and then back to 3 and 4. But you just pointed it out, Jack Walker now checking 5th OA out of that XC2 class.
Yeah, and that is dropping back 4 spots from a lap ago. So we noticed he had lost a little bit of time there, potentially going down, or at least kind of losing his rhythm. And he had lost the toe of the riders in front of him. And now he has dropped back to that 5th place spot in the overall, waiting on. And now Reardon has checked in 7th place spot overall, and only 15 seconds behind Jack Walker in that number 2 spot. And then only 3 seconds back is Jason Tino in the 3rd spot in that XC2 Pro Lights class, and 8th overall.
Talking about gas for Jack Walker, possibly getting a little bit gassed out here in this one after starting so strong.
Well, and if that intel from Keith Obermeyer is correct, which I believe it to be, that means Jack Walker, that was his 2nd fuel stop already, and he will need at least, well, I guess he would only need 1 more, because if he does 2 laps, if he's already pitted twice, yeah, he would only need 1 more fuel stop. So 3 stops is what it would take for him to get to the finish line. if he's having to pit every 2 laps.
And when I say gassed out about a rider like Jack Walker, of course, a professional, and he knows exactly what he's doing, I don't think he's getting gassed out in that sense. I think he gets gassed out as we see Draper making his way by. In a sense of he knows he's making his way up through that lead group. You get a little bit excited, and who knows, you might push it a little farther than you expected as now he makes his way by on screen.
Well, and Grant Davis and also Gus Reardon, Cody Barnes, those riders that had so much success with those top overall podium positions from that XC2 class, it said the key was getting to those XC1 riders and latching onto the rear wheel. Now, Walker did that, but the riders he latched onto then got dropped by the lead group, so he didn't quite get to latch on. He couldn't see the leaders, and at that point, you're able to latch onto that pace, and even if they do pick up the pace, you know it's time to go. So Jack, although he got up into, I think at one point, he was physically 6th or 7th on the racetrack, he still wasn't quite in sight of Stu Baylor with the lead.
Well, and to your point there, Johnny, even those 3 that you just mentioned from last year, it was Grant Davis that really stood out among them, being oftentimes inside the top 5, top 3 of the XC1 class physically within the first lap to lap and a half. And he even said, I had to get physical sometimes. They didn't want an XC2 rider to make that pass. And like you said, not only do you got to hang on to the rear wheel of an XC1 rider, they got to be pushing towards the front if they're not already up there.
Yep, we'll watch here at the 1 mile marker, waiting for our leaders to come through. Stu Baylor on that 514 machine leading the way. Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot. They have now opened up a little bit of a gap over the 3rd and 4th place rides of Russell and DeLong. We see that there on screen. Ashburn, a little bit more intensity. See the back end of that Phoenix Racing Honda really starting to hop around there as he heads through that rock garden. Now here comes the 557 of Caleb Russell. He's opened up just a few bike length gap over Craig DeLong there on the Rockstar Racing Husqvarna. And again, on the charge, they know that those 2 riders out front have started to march away, and they're going to throw everything at it to try to close that gap up.
With as hard as DeLong was pushing there, that is a clutch move from Russell to be able to keep him behind him. Now seeing the 8 machine of Wachowski making his way by.
Different line from Wachowski there around those rocks. That's the line we've been seeing Jack Walker take, while the rest of the lead riders seemingly going up over those rocks in the middle of the track there. And man, as things are heating up on track, we know we do have quite a points battle. We already heard from Jordan Ashburn about his thoughts on it, but the rider on screen, Ben Kelly, your current points leader, we had a chance to catch up with him to get his thoughts on how 2026 is shaping up and how these points are shaking out.
Yeah, the points battle is definitely close. Still have the points lead. The last 2 races have been mediocre. Coker was okay, it was decent, 3rd place, but wasn't feeling the best. And then Kentucky, I was excited for that race and had a good start, was right there in 2nd, and felt like I was, ready to have a good race, but I was definitely just fighting the track, and my bike set up that whole race. And yeah, the dust was definitely a bit sketchy, but more so for me, it was just fighting the setup, and I just was not comfortable just fighting it the whole time. And yeah, I did the best I could, but I just didn't have, any comfort. So could only manage a 6th place, which is a bummer on a track I feel like I could do good at, but is what is. We're gonna rebound for this race here, and I'm excited for it. And yeah, hopefully have a better feeling, get a good start, battle up front, and yeah, like I try to do every race, go into it and try to get another win.
Well, Ben Kelly speaking about mediocre finishes with a 3rd and a 6th. As we look at the running order right now, sitting in 9th, you can kind of sense the urgency in these last couple camera shots as we're getting deep into this one now, 1 hour and 40 minutes in. It's go time for Ben Kelly. If you want to keep yourself in that championship points lead, he has got to make up some ground, get himself in touch with the leaders, and try to make some passes, because right now, not only is he displaced by the riders physically in front of him in that XC1 class, but he's got the riders behind him. And now look at this, Liam Draper, I think, has made up some ground on Kelly, so he may come under fire from Draper on the 198, but he's got Jack Walker, Reardon, and also Tino that have pushed him back an additional 3 spots in the overall, and those are valuable championship points.
Guys, during that interview there, we saw Jordan Ashburn really starting to push the issue with Stu Baylor, almost side by side with him, coming over the top of this hill and headed back down through the rocks. Jordan Ashburn trying to make a move happen now, Zach.
Yeah, Jackson, you talk about go time for somebody like Ben Kelly. It's go time for Jordan Ashburn, or at least he certainly thinks so, is launched over to the inside. And just like you said, what a place to try to go for a pass right there. Jordan Ashburn looking comfortable in spots on this course that the rest seem like they're just trying to get through. We heard from Brandy Richards, expert analysis there from her, saying you got to know when to push, when not, when to hold them, when to fold them, as Jared Bolton would probably say. And right now it looks like Ashburn feeling comfy and racy in other spots where riders can't push near as hard. Well, we're going to actually see if we can get a replay here, right here from the same camera shot, the 2-mile mark. Watch this. So Stu Baylor on the charge, and then Jordan Ashburn wheeling manual over that rock, and then going to cut to the inside. And this is full send. He was launching for it, not quite close enough. Stu Baylor slams the door, and not only was that a great job from Stu to defend, but great job from Jordan to realize what Stu was going to do. Checked up just a little bit, keeping his front end from getting collected.
These guys are playing with centimeters here. We saw Jordan Ashburn, the way he was able to lift that front end up to keep the machine down, and then when he headed back down the hill, literally centimeters there from those foot pegs hitting the rocks. Calm, cool, and collected for Jordan Ashburn. Really anything but it, as now we have ourselves a new leader, everybody. Jordan Ashburn has been able to seal the deal.
So there it is, something to be said about it. And Caleb Russell's on the hunt as well. He's bringing Craig DeLong with him. This is far from over. The table for 4 is set, but right now it is Jordan Ashburn enjoying it out at the front. And this is what I want to see. What's he able to do now with some clean air? Ashburn, I think, has had more pace than Baylor, but he's just been staying patient. Now takes a big breath of clean, fresh air. And now, going to try to put that Phoenix Honda out front and check out on the rest of the field.
Zach, I love when we invent new words here on Racing
Rainage
TV.
ditch, that's been my new one.
I do it all the time. But the riders on the move right now, Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong, they have definitely closed up that gap to the lead duo in front of them. It was 8 seconds when they came through with 4 laps complete, and now they are just in sight of the leaders. So they are definitely pushing, and this man right here, Ben Kelly, trying to do damage control, riding a good, clean race so far, it seems, but the intensity maybe just lacking a little bit early on. But now he's starting to have a little bit of pressure from behind, from the number 198 of Liam Draper. We're going to transpose numbers too. Let's get it all wrong. Liam Draper coming through here, and he is pushing the pace, trying to get, and that is potentially the points battle. Yep. But with Jordan Ashburn in the number 1 spot, there's no battle. Jordan Ashburn would be your points leader by a significant margin if they finish the way they run in it.
Well, and to your point, Johnny, I almost think it might be a blessing in disguise, the 198 starting to close in on Ben, kind of like you talked about earlier. Reawaken that fire. Whoa, wait a second. I think I'm going as fast as I can, and I'm not. I got to figure out how to get going even quicker. Got to kind of catch a toe, even if it means that 198 gets in front of him. But look at this. The battle continues. Gus Reardon and Jason Tino going at it for 2 and 3 out of your XC2 class.
And let's give a little bit of love to Jason Tino. First win 2 weeks ago in Kentucky. And you know that's got to do a little bit to bolster the confidence of a rider like Tino. Never having won a race before at this level, and suddenly getting that win, suddenly it's, okay, I've always thought I was capable of it, but now I know for a fact I am. Cutting back to that shot of the leaders there, looked like already had Ashburn and Baylor come through. That was your 3rd and 4th place riders of Caleb Russell and also Craig DeLong coming through here at the 4-mile marker. Camera getting a little glitchy on us, but we have some great shots of these guys working their way through. Looks like one of the mechanics, they're getting ready to cheer on Mike Witkowski and let him know that he is still very much in the fight for the win here today.
Yeah, Witkowski, and I'd put Kelly in that mix as well. A little bit of no man's land. Kelly now starting to get some company from behind as far as Liam Draper chasing him down, but this is the gap still continuing that Ben has to make up just to the next rider in his class, let alone actually get to that 4-rider duo, and it just seems like those 4 keep pushing each other and bringing that level up and up and up.
Well, and shout out to Witkowski there. He was 16 seconds back when they checked in with 4 laps complete, and at least looking at it, the clock of my eye says that he's a little closer than that right now. So I think he's putting in a good push that's also drawing him away from Ben Kelly behind him, and there is Liam Draper sitting in that 11th place spot. So if you're Ben Kelly and Liam Draper sitting in 9th and 11th overall, that's not the positions you want to be in as 1 and 2 in the overall points, especially when Jordan Ashburn, the ticker on the left side of the screen, still updated from scoring, but we know he is now past Stu Baylor, looking down the barrel of 30 points if he can hold on to this one, and that would make him the solo points leader headed into round number 7.
So let's see what the Phoenix Racing Honda number 3 machine is able to do as your time and scoring refreshers: Ashburn, Baylor, Russell, and DeLong, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm saying it, I think KR is coming to the front, and I think he's bringing DeLong along with him. But the question is, Stu Baylor, we know how fast he is. We also know he's incredibly difficult to get around. We saw how many attempts it took from Jordan Ashburn, and we even said just a few short minutes ago, didn't seem like Jordan was trying to make those passes happen, and then we saw the switch flip. Now it's Jordan's on the hunt. He's on the attack, looking left, looking right, makes the pass happen. got to think there's going to be a sense of urgency from Russell as well, knowing, hey, now I'm chasing after Jordan Ashburn, and this is the last guy I want with fresh air out front.
Well, and Stu Baylor's another one of those riders that is so good at keying off of other riders. He had a great pace out front, starting to draw away. Ashburn was able to latch onto him. But make no mistake, Stu Baylor will latch right onto the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn and throw everything at it. Jordan Ashburn looking great, but I don't expect to see Stu Baylor just allow him to ride away. He'll ride a little bit, I wouldn't say over his head, but he'll ride as close to the limit as he needs to try to keep in touch with Jordan Ashburn.
You know, we often hear in the motocross and supercross side of things, you know, if you get past and you can immediately make a pass back, it kind of shuts down that momentum. It almost seems like in a way it's a little different here in off-road racing. You get past, maybe settle in, hook in right behind them, but see what they're doing, calculate when you're going to be able to make that pass back. Johnny, you can probably break that down even better.
Yeah, and I think a part of that may just come down to the length of the race. You know, in motocross and supercross, very short races, controlling the pace from the front seems to be the most, you know, unless you're Cooper Webb who likes to attack at the end of races or something like that. But someone like Stu Baylor, he knows, even though we're an hour and 47 into this, we still have more than 2 full laps of racing remaining. So he's not going to panic. If he's able, as long as he's able to keep Jordan Ashburn in sight, he's going to feel pretty confident that there's enough time left for him to make a move. So a lot of times it's just finding those lines, finding that flow. Is it something they're doing, or did I just lose intensity when I was in that point position? So Baylor likely studying right now and learning as Jordan Ashburn is leading the way.
You know, I sit and think back to our XC1 battle from yesterday. Wyatt Wilkin talking about a line from Hunter Hart. Realized what he was doing and said every lap after that, I was taking that line. I didn't even realize it was there. Really quick learning, even sometimes having to ride with eyes in the back of your head and pick up on what a rider's doing behind you, where all of a sudden they pulled up beside you.
Well, and shout out to Wyatt Wilkin yesterday. You know, we'll wait and watch for our next rider to come through, which should be Ben Kelly. But Wilkin did such a phenomenal job of pressure all day long. And he even said, I didn't know the pace. I was the one setting it. He said, I didn't know if I was going too fast. I was just trying to take care of the machine, but also carry good speed. For a rider like Wilkin with only one previous win, you know, that's such a difficult position to be in. Am I doing enough? Am I allowing myself the opportunity to kind of reload and rest a little bit, but at the same time, not let these guys be resting and learning everything I have behind me? So he did a great job. Shout out to him, because I know he's watching on his drive home today. He always tunes into the bike races. He's an avid bike rider himself, and that's the cool thing about GNCC. All these bike guys are out in the woods watching the ATV race, and if they go back to get lunch, they turn on Racer TV, and all the ATV guys on the way home or once they get home are tuned in and watching these bike races.
My favorite part of that post-race interview, I was so stressed out the whole time. Big shout out to Wyatt Wilkin and all of our XC1 top riders there from yesterday. As man, they put on quite a show for us, just like we've got a show here on our hands. Gus Reardon stretching things out just a little bit, putting some pressure on Josh Strang, and bringing Jason Tino along with him here at the 5-mile mark, your FMF PowerPoint.
Trying to bring the fight to Jack Walker there, as well as Walker was just ahead of him, getting tangled up there with one of our lap riders. Had to check up big time. Oh, and
Toby
going for a ride.
down.
Is that Cleveland?
It is. Yeah, it is. No front number plate.
Deceivingly slick. We've talked about it before. As look at that quick little adjustment there from Cleveland. No harm, no foul. As we were kicking off we got a party on track, but we've had some party in the pits as well, Jackson. Our specialized turbo party. Man, this has been fantastic. We had wheelie contests, slow riding contests. Davey Fairfield, who I believe won our wheelie contest, was still doing wheelies coming up on the podium today. That's him right there with the mullet. There he is. Shout out, Davey. With one hand in the air. We had a pizza party going on. I definitely got a slice. Jackson, I think you were still on the podium. Did you get one?
I did not. I ran out. I checked every pizza box, though. They were clean out. Everybody was enjoying their self. We had a big party, but some even bigger prizes were gave out, Zach. A big shout out to Gear Bicycle Sales and Specialized, our title sponsor here this weekend, making sure to celebrate that first opening round of our EMTB series, and of course being the title sponsor.
How cool is that? Giving away a 24-inch Levo and a brand new Levo Gen 4, courtesy of our friends at Specialized, our title sponsor here at Round 6. And those are thousands and thousands of dollars prizes, and those were just the grand prizes.
Yep.
We had VIP parking at Snowshoe, a couple of VIP tickets to the High Point Pro Motocross National, all kinds of gift cards being given away, over 40 prizes in total. And Man, just look at those things. I'm not going to lie. I had a ticket. I was checking some numbers, but I don't think I was that lucky.
Yeah, you know, and when you say thousands, $7,000 for that Levo machine. And then the youth Levo on top of that, I believe that's about another $3,500. So over $10,000 just in bicycles on top of the VIP parking and the High Point tickets and the gift cards and everything else that we're giving out. So huge, huge shout out to Gear Bicycle Sales Specialized for sponsoring that party. I also did not get pizza. I was a little sad about that. I got a phone call. I was there. I had tickets. And then I thought about, man, if I win this, they're going to think it's rigged. I got a phone call. Had to go be roadside support out on I-40. One of our ATV racers that was headed to dinner in Cookeville lost the rear wheels on his dually, broke the studs. So I ran out. We had to go to the parts store, get him going. But that's just really the community of GNCC Racing. He said, hey, man, how can you just come out and do this? I said, you're stranded down the side of the road. GNCC, we're family, man. We'll take care of you.
He could have gotten you some pizza.
He offered.
Okay,
all right. I went to Mexican.
Fair enough. It's little ACP never hurt.
Yeah, I think it's Los Agaves or whatever it's called here in town in Monterey on your way out. As long as you don't make it that I have a wait tonight, go there, get some Mexican great food here. And worth mentioning, if you saw the signs coming into town, Chris Landers, who we shouted out earlier in the show here, actually running for mayor of Monterey at the moment. So as if he doesn't have his hands in enough things between all the businesses that he's running, including this racetrack here in this facility, also now looking to be mayor of Monterey. But the mayor of the Old Gray right now is this man right here. And look at this. Caleb Russell starting to put some pressure on Stu Baylor, but still Jordan Ashburn leading the way. And now it looks like they have shaken loose the 342 Rockstar Racing Husqvarna of Craig DeLong. He has definitely lost some ground here. Still has his front number plate attached. So that is a good sign for him. So many riders missing that here, even our top riders that have made contact with trees, other riders, whatever it is out here on this Old Gray racetrack.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Craig DeLong might not be in that top 3 duo at the moment, but he is walking away with $250 courtesy of Monterey Foods. Had some local companies jumping in, including Landers Home Solutions and the Grind Coffee Store as well. So the local community embracing.
I know the Grind. Landers owns that as well, I believe. So he may own Monterey Foods as well. So if he does, we appreciate the support. Chris Landers, again, allowing us to come out here, ride this beautiful piece of property. It doesn't look so beautiful at the moment with the rocks, but I just went for a bicycle ride in the woods this morning, and man, this is just such a pretty piece of property out here.
It's an abstract art, right? It's beauty if you know how to behold it. Now, taking a look at the age from some of our riders here at the top of the field. 35 years old for Jordan Ashburn. 31 for Stu Baylor, a little bit older, 36 for Caleb Russell, coming back with us here at GNCC Racing, and then Craig DeLong, the youngest of our top 4 at only 29 years of age. The wisdom that we've got here at the front of the field might be going to work. And look at this, a problem for Jack Walker.
Walker motioning. That was one of the beta mechanics on the side of the trail there. Jack Walker looking like he was pointing to something possibly with the clutch or something on the clutch side of the machine there. Back to the leaders out front. We've got the vet class podium with Jordan Ashburn, Stu Baylor, and Caleb Russell all over that vet class age of 30 years old and pushing the pace out front right now. But just behind him, next year, Craig DeLong can run that vet A class.
Well, one thing about it, we're going to have a dogfight at the front. There's some veterans as far as age goes, but there are also veterans here in the GNCC world as far as the racing goes themselves. They have been doing it for a long, long time. Of course, Caleb Russell, the most winning GNCC dirt bike racer of all time. It's going to be a dogfight. If Russell can stay with Baylor there, this is going to be a good one. And if Baylor can catch back up to Ashburn, we're going to see some fireworks here in Tennessee.
But on top of that, Jackson, you think about somebody like Jordan Ashburn, Caleb Russell, Craig DeLong, past champions as well. Now, Stu Baylor, we know the winningest XC1 rider to not have an XC1 championship, but the experience is there. He knows how to handle a race. He knows how to be in a dogfight like he is right now, an hour and 55 minutes into this approximately 3-hour-long race. So I don't think there's anything that you can pull over on one of these guys, right? No surprises that they're not going to see coming. All of these top 4 have been there and done that.
Yeah, and if you think of it that way, I mean, there's 10 overall GNCC championships between the top 4 riders right now, and that is a pretty staggering statistic when you speak of experience, racecraft, and wisdom.
So here we go through the pit area. We go, the Yamaha Racing live drone, or I guess heading into the pits, we should say, and the bottle handoffs, one of the fan favorite spots to watch. Beautiful. Beautiful execution there from the Russell family. Looks like Ashburn able to grab a handful of hydration as well.
See Ryan Ballou, Caleb Russell's mechanic out there with something on the pit board. You know it can't be a gap because he can see those guys, so some type of information being passed along there. Eagle eye, the eyes aren't quite what they used to be. Couldn't read that one, a little too much glare, but information being passed along from the mechanics to the riders throughout the race. Worth noting, no two-way communication here between the riders, mechanics, or team members in GNCC Racing. Mike Wachowski still giving chase, still kind of stabilized that gap. Looked like he had made up some ground. Now maybe kind of stabilized around that 12 to 15 second mark. We'll get the official live timing and scoring here in just a few corners when they cross that finish line for what should be a 2-lap board in the hands of Ricky Towery.
There we go, flashing forward, more bottle handoffs. Ben Kelly going to grab some hydration, back at it on the number 1 ride.
When you talk about the family affair, I mean, these guys have semis and mechanics and everything else, but that was Ben's mom handing off the bottle. So, you know, she has practiced that many times over the years during Ben's racing career, and she is a trusted confidant and bottle hander offer to Ben Kelly there. Coming through now, it is Craig DeLong in the number 4 spot, and the top 3 have checked in just in front of him. We can talk about the gaps, but you can see them on screen. 1 second lead for Jordan Ashburn. Caleb Russell 4 seconds behind Stu Baylor in the number 3 spot, and then another 4 seconds back to Craig DeLong sitting in that number 4 spot. We'll wait and we'll watch for the rest of the top 10 to check in here, or if we get there is Mike Wachowski now checking in the number 5 spot, 19 seconds. So it looked like he had made up some time. Now he's lost a little bit back. Potentially, with the intensity Jordan Ashburn has put down here, now Stu Baylor, Caleb Russell, and Craig DeLong have had to pick the pace up as well.
Yeah, you talk about sinking those hooks in, and right now it's pulling. The hook is in, but it is trying to pull away from you. So Baylor, Russell, and DeLong is, once again, we kind of see that yo-yo, a little bit more space than we've seen in some of our other camera shots.
Well, and we speak about, you know, how things look from the drone. Right now, Stu Baylor, close enough to Jordan Ashburn that dust's not really a factor. But if you think back to 2 weeks ago in Kentucky, when I believe it was Wyatt Wilkin coming almost to a stop in the middle of the straightaway, when we were wondering what exactly that was, he couldn't see anything. So Caleb Russell back there eating that dust. Maybe doesn't quite have, wow, Stu Baylor got pretty loose through that section.
Yeah, I can't say that he is not pushing right now. Wants to get right back to the Phoenix Racing Honda of Jordan Ashburn. Charging hard. And you can see just so hard on those brakes as well, and kicking up plenty of dust there for 3rd place, Caleb Russell. Our drone did a good job getting low here on this one. We're getting a little bit more of a ground
and
idea.
That shows you the dust right there. You didn't even see Craig DeLong coming until the very last second.
Dust starting to kick up as we get later and later into this one. Definitely not what we saw here this morning. So the guys have really been drying it out. Just even in this PM race, we saw things really start to dry out. Of course, getting a little bit of rain here yesterday evening. Last night, I should say, actually, after our ATV race, and it was just enough to have almost a perfect racetrack going into our youth and our AM race. Now starting to see the sun and the wind drying out this Tennessee course.
Well, and to your point, Jackson, we've said it time and time again. We've had mud, standing water on the course before, and then all of a sudden, by the end of the day, we've got dust flying. Johnny, what are you seeing?
Guys, as the XC2 riders check in, Jack Walker dropping 1 position back in that overall back to 6th, but here is the story. Gus Reardon 1.6 seconds behind Jack Walker. So that potential issue we saw, Jack Walker motioning to his crew members about maybe looming large here as this race continues on. He has definitely lost some time. And then Jason Tino sitting just another 2 seconds back. So 3 seconds separating the top 3 in XC2 as they run.
And taking a look at your last lap times, Ashburn, Baylor, Russell, DeLong, and Wachowski all sub 23 minutes. So no question about it. They have picked the pace up. They are on the charge. Meanwhile, Jack Walker dropping back a fair amount, 23-14, 14 seconds faster was Gus Reardon on that last lap. So we'll see if that trend continues and whether a Phoenix Racing Honda of Gus Reardon can make a pass, get out front of that XC2 class. Watching and waiting here at the 1 mile mark. Don't forget either, as we get deeper and deeper into this race, lap traffic. Brandy Richards talking about how big of a factor that was in her race. There is Gus Reardon. Do we have a new leader in your XC2 class? I believe so, as there is Jack Walker.
There's Jason
Tino.
Yep. Yeah. So Jack Walker, for the first time today, since grabbing that pole shot, has relinquished the lead in that XC2 class. It is a new leader, the Phoenix Racing Honda of Gus Reardon, a rider we talked so much about coming into 2026. And as things got started, we kind of, I'll say, not we, I kind of expected him really to be the class of the field. But man, so many of these other riders, whether it be Jason Tino, Jack Walker, Nick DeFeo, some of these other riders really stepped up throughout the first part of 2026. And also, it's been pretty clear that Reardon has had some issues, whether it be adapting to the new team or just strange issues that have kind of held him back in several races, but he is still in the fight for that championship points lead and in the fight for the win today, leading the way. And Stu Baylor firing back now, right back to the rear wheel, Jordan Ashburn. Jordan Ashburn, normally a very under control rider, but he is letting it all hang out. And they are now starting to pull away just a little bit from Caleb Russell. And we'll wait and watch for the 342 of Craig DeLong. Don't have to wait long. He is there in the number 4 spot and can see the lead trio ahead of him.
Don't have to wait long for DeLong on the move. And like you were saying about Jordan Ashburn charging hard, he really is. I saw him harder on the gas in these last few camera shots than I possibly ever have. It looks like he is really trying to bring the intensity to keep Stu Baylor behind him, as now we see his teammate Mike Wachowski making his way through the rock garden.
Well, and they're kind of making it simple for one another. Wick it up or get left behind. Yep. Because at this point, everybody is laying it all out there.
Yeah, and that's something Jordan Ashburn kind of historically known as more of a controlled, calculated rider. And that was, some of the pundits might say, well, he didn't hang it out in races that he could have won. I really believe what we saw from him 2 weeks ago in Kentucky, when we saw him just kind of running it in there, making those passes on Liam Draper and other riders clean, but they were very aggressive, point shoot kind of moments. And Jordan Ashburn later in his career really willing to let it all hang out, recognizing how important these wins are, especially when you're in a championship battle like he is right now.
Sure is. Seeing Draper, the last rider there on the screen, making his way by with Ben Kelly just ahead of him. And now flash forward. Take a look at that. Man, looking amazing up at the front of the pack is Jordan Ashburn as he lifts that front end up over the rocks just the way that Caleb Russell just did as well. Ooh, Russell getting a bit of a kick there as he heads down the hill. Still flying information as Craig DeLong going to be in that 4th place spot.
And I think we really saw something a little extra out of Craig DeLong 2 weeks ago in Kentucky with his first podium. And again, we spoke about it with Jason Tino with that first win. Craig DeLong, first podium of 2026. A little bit of extra confidence coming into the race here today.
Yeah, no doubt. And you could see it written all over his face at the end of that race. Big smiles there from DeLong and the entire team.
There is Wachowski still running in that number 5 spot, now up to the 5th place spot overall, with Jack Walker dropping back. And now, seemingly at least, if they're running in the same order, Reardon in that 6th place spot overall, Walker back to 7th, and Jason Tino 8th. So the top 5 spots in the overall on track and after time correction occupied by the top 5 with the season guys.
Should be seeing Ben Kelly here any second. And right on time, there he is.
A little bit of extra motivation for Liam Draper, knowing how that point situation sits, seeing the rider that, at least coming into the day, was leading the points. What he can't possibly know is that Jordan Ashburn is out front, unless he's got the pit board, but I don't know how much he needs to know that at this point. But Ashburn, the points leader as they run right now, but still, you know, a little bit of extra sense of urgency from Draper trying to get around Kelly and at least make up a few more points on him in that championship.
No doubt about it. And sounds like those riders, even talking to them, even not talking to them, but listening to them after the race, that's where you get some of the rawest emotions from them. The amount of respect between somebody like a Liam Draper and Ben Kelly after the race, being able to break things down, coming down through the wire. Jordan Ashburn, if they lose, they're bummed, but they're congratulating the other guy. If they win, they're celebrating, but still congratulating the other guy on such a hard fight. It really is so cool to see the relationship that these riders have, and friendships in a lot of ways between riders that for 3 hours they are mortal enemies, but the rest of the time they're a part of a very small knit community.
Yep, waiting and watching for our leaders here at the 3-mile marker. We did just see the battle for those top 3 positions in XC2 work their way through that last camera shot, and it was still Reardon leading the way, but whatever issue Jack Walker may or may not be having doesn't seem to be slowing him down too much, Jackson. He was still right there behind Reardon and still holding off Jason Tino, holding strong in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out with this XC2 division. What we thought Jack Walker was going to have a runaway day here seems to be shaken up as we get into the later stages. Want to give a shout out to Lane Whitmer as well. Checked in with him just a few minutes ago. He did come through for 4 laps complete as everybody else had in his class, so he was able to stay on that lead lap. Is now seeing this, a new leader, Johnny.
There you go. It's shaken up again. And here comes your 3rd and 4th place rider, Caleb Russell. And Craig DeLong has kind of been hanging off the back there. Not far back, but he just can't quite get to the rear wheel of Russell, but he is hanging strong, pushing the pace. You know he wants to get in the mix and in that battle for the lead. Even though he's right there, just those couple bike lengths can be so important when you're working your way through lap traffic. Looking at the running order on the left side of the screen there, we have Hunter Smith leading the way out of that 250A class in our overall amateur battle. Mike Wachowski now coming through in the number 5 spot on the screen. Chase Landers, local boy, rides right here, and I think may even live in the house in the front of the property, or stay there, some from what I've been told. In the number 2 spot in that overall amateur, then Braden Baisley leading the way in that 4-stroke A lights class. And another one of those Rocky Mountain ATV MC riders, Caleb Wood, out of that 258 class, sitting in the 3rd place spot in 258 and 4th overall amateur. So the overall amateur podium represented here towards the tail end of the top 20, and those guys are pushing the pace. Looked like might have been DeLong had now gotten right to the rear wheel of Russell in that last camera shot.
Gonna see here in just a second once we get another stationary shot, jumping back down to the mile 3 marker now. And now going to our Yamaha Racing live drone, gonna have our eyes in the sky, see if we can catch another glimpse of some of our riders making their way through. And seeing it now, there goes one of the Phoenix Honda machines. Should have been Mike Wachowski, I do believe, making his way by there. And now popped up to the mile 4 marker where the boys should be making their way through here shortly. And there he is, Stu Baylor making his way by. And he has overtaken that lead and been able to put a couple bike links between himself and Ashburn. Now seeing a few more bike links back to Russell, and Craig DeLong is going to be right there, just a bike length or 2, Johnny, so he has been able to close up on Caleb Russell.
So just when it seemed like Jordan Ashburn had the measure of Stu Baylor fires back, grabs that lead, and starting to distance himself just a little bit. Perhaps a situation finding some lines, maybe some technique that Jordan Ashburn was applying. Now he is taking advantage of that knowledge and starting to pull out a little bit of a gap here in that lead position.
So Stu Baylor looking good here today, trying to get some redemption after what has been a rough start to his season. Now 3 out of the 5 races, Stu Baylor not able to make it to the checkered flag. And I'm sure he wants to keep that statistic right there where it was, with 3 for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, through the first 5 races, it was definitely up and down for Stu Baylor, coming out strong at round number 1, getting himself on the overall podium in that 2nd place position behind our race winner, Johnny Gerard. But then, you know, disaster struck in Florida, and then winning Talladega, coming back, and then after that it was another DNF, obviously, at round number 5. So it's been a challenge for him through the first 5 rounds, and also a DNF at Camp Coker. So definitely not something he wants to repeat here today, but leading the way. You know, at this point, Stu Baylor probably not thinking about points. He's thinking about that race win and looking to be the first rider to be a repeat winner here in 2026.
Let's see if he can pull it off, put himself in a great spot to do so far, and shows that is exactly what his plan is as Reardon makes his way by. Been a great day for the Phoenix Racing Honda boys all the way through, as now he is in control of it with Tino just behind. And now where is Jack Walker? Jack coming into screen just ahead of his teammate and manager there, Josh Strang.
Yeah, so he has lost that position, and now he has some pressure from behind from the team manager. He had passed him, pulled away earlier in the race. So if you're Josh Strang, you got to be wondering, is there an issue? Is there something I can help with? Or has he just lost the flow again? Last lap, we did see him motioning to one of the mechanics that was standing trackside, looking like potentially he was trying to communicate an issue. We don't not know exactly what that issue may have been. Still running in a podium position, but definitely seemingly lost the pace he had early in the race.
Now the question is, does Strang make the pass on him, or does Strang sit back there, maybe throw some rev bombs in, says go, go, go? And we'll see here in this next camera shot. Rider Rick making his way by, one of our amateur riders. Seeing several of our riders that have moved up from those youth ranks now here just once the next season, all the way up into our PM race. Travis Lentz, got to see a few camera shots of him on the 171 earlier today, our youth champion from last year, now riding in this afternoon 3-hour race. Love to see it.
Caleb Wood there in the number 20 spot, 3rd in that 258. 2 years ago, I believe it was. He was our overall youth champion, beating out Braden Baisley, who's just ahead of him in the number 19 spot and leading the way in that 4-stroke A-Lights class. We were told Josh Toth was in the pits earlier, did go back out. He is back in the pits now. Looks like not a huge rush, maybe communicating something to the team. We know he has been riding his way back from an injury. Look at this. Did I? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was all
yeah, So still Craig DeLong in the number 4 spot, just ahead of him, Caleb Russell in 3rd, and Jordan Ashburn in that 2nd place position. All 3 of them trying to hunt down Stu Baylor just ahead of them on track, leading the way in the XC1 and the overall. We saw such a strong performance from these XC2 riders early on, and still 3 of them running solidly inside the top 10 overall. But the pace of the XC1 riders up front has pushed them back to the top of the running order, occupying the top 5 spots.
Witkowski just making his way by here at the mile 5 marker. Now waiting on those XC2 riders that we spoke of. Should be popping into the camera screen any second now. We'll see. Is it still going to be Reardon? Seeing Ben Kelly.
So taking a look, Ben Kelly checking in. Ooh, big kick there from Liam Draper.
And Draper lost a little bit of ground on Kelly from our last camera shot, so he is continuing to fight, trying to track down Kelly, who those two are very much battled in that championship points battle at the top in number 1 and 2 spots coming into the day. But right now, as they run, even in the number 2 spot, Jordan Ashburn would be the solo points leader if they finish as they run.
Seeing the riders I've been anticipating now making their way through. Reardon still going to be in the lead of this XC2 division. Jason Tino, fresh off some good results, trying to make it happen again here in Tennessee. Holding solidly now onto that 2nd place spot, and seeing Strang now ahead of Jack Walker. So Walker seeming to have a little bit of troubles here in these later stages.
Yeah, so that answers the question whether or not Josh Strang would sit back there and try and coach. He has made the pass and probably motioned, hey man, follow me. Looks like Strang is feeling good and maybe potentially going to try to push to catch up with Jason Tino, and Gus Reardon dragging hopefully his younger teammate with him there to get back in the battle for that XC2 win.
No doubt about it, and kind of leading by example as well, just like you said, Johnny. Hey, hook into me, right? Let me kind of tow you towards the front. So right now the Beta Boys trying to move their way forward.
Be interested to hear what exactly has happened here with Walker. I'm not sure, that maybe a little bit of difficulties with the machine, or possibly, like I was saying, gassed out himself, but just not seeing that intensity we saw earlier in this race.
And yeah, I think you made an interesting point earlier, Jackson, talking about potentially gassing out just a little bit. Man, talking about gassing up, you guys have got a lot of nice toys here at GNCC, whether we're talking about trucks, campers, RVs, bikes, ATVs, and now EMTBs as well. And our friends at Progressive Insurance are able to help you save a couple hundred, if not thousands of dollars. Even you folks at home watching on Racer TV, scan the QR code on your screen and get a quote from Progressive. Look, they've already given so much to the industry and to the sport that we all know and love. Why not show them your support? At least get the quote. You're not signing up for anything. Just get the quote and find out whether or not you could save a couple $100 courtesy of our friends over at Progressive. And speaking of Progressive, our title sponsor in 2026 for the Progressive GNCC EMTB Racing Series. And we got it all kicked off this weekend, Jackson. Round 6 for bikes and ATVs, but round 1, and man, were they fired up to get the pedals off and rolling.
They sure were. It was one of Gear Bicycle Cell's very own Charlie Mullins that we got to see out of retirement once again and out here on his EMTB machine. And look at that, takes a checkered flag and takes the big win here. Matt Rice out here with us as well. Glad to have him on the EMTB's machines, and looking forward to plenty more as round number 1 in the books.
And great stuff going on out there. And eventually, I want to see Johnny Gallagher out there on a race. Can we do it? We got to make it happen.
Oh, I've done plenty of them.
I know you've done them. I want to see it this year.
We were a little busy yesterday with the Blue Crew giveaway, giving away those umbrellas for all our registered Blue Crew members. I had about 150 of those that we gave away through Friday, Saturday. Still got a few over there. I got about 8 left. So any folks here at the track still listen if you got your Blue Crew digital ID. But I really enjoy the e-bike races, but I have nothing for a fellow like Charlie Mullins, that's for sure. A true competitor, obviously a former series champion in the XC1 class. Also ran the, I believe it was the Boston Marathon 2 weeks ago, why he wasn't with us in Kentucky. So this guy is just an absolute athlete. But out front, a different kind of athlete, a motorcycle athlete, Stu Baylor, leading the way, and Jordan Ashburn just behind him. Caleb Russell getting a little loose through that section, and Craig DeLong in tow. The top 4 all in the same camera shot. DeLong really showing some intensity here now, and we'll see how far back is Mike Witkowski. Putting in a push, trying to make this a 5-rider battle for the lead.
And even right now with 4 riders, it's always a difficult position as you get deep into these races. Now 5 laps complete, coming up to what will be a white flag waving. You have to think, there's 4 guys in this battle for the win. One of them will be left off the podium. And that is not a good feeling late in the race, especially if you're in that position and you have it taken away from you right at the end, which we saw with our youth race earlier today. Passes right down till the final turns. And there's Witkowski. Definitely has lost some time now in that number 5 spot. Not out of this one just yet, fighting back, but he really needs to pick up the pace to get with that lead group of 4 in front of him.
Well, and you bring up a couple good points there, Johnny. Like we even heard Wyatt Wilkins say yesterday, I realized this party of 3 was turning into a party of 4. One of us isn't even going to be on the podium, and that's when things start to get kind of a next level. I don't want to say desperate, but maybe that's the best word to use it. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and like you also mentioned earlier this morning, our final few corners really setting up an opportunity to make some aggressive passes. I actually want to give them a shout out, Hunter Hockenberry and Bentley Saxon. Great racing as wait a second.
I did not see Ben Kelly come through this camera shot at the 7-mile marker. Looks like Liam Draper has made the pass. We are being told from our spotter that Ben Kelly is
still no sign of Ben Kelly. So, whoa, wait a second. I feel like it was that exact same camera shot that we were waiting on Grant Davis just a few laps ago. Hopefully, something not happening to the number 1, your current points leader.
And that obviously could have huge points implications. As now we see Gus Reardon and Jason Tino to the rear wheel of Reardon and looking like he is in full sprint mode. Not only is he caught Reardon, but he is wanting to make the pass. Josh Strang still back there, and now he is pulled away even more from Jack Walker. So whatever issues Walker is experiencing, he is definitely losing time on that lead duo, and we still have not seen the big number 1 of Ben Kelly come through this shot, so that is going to drop him back quite a bit in the running order, and that could have big points implications for our current points leader coming into today.
Man, Jared, just like we talked about, with so many riders capable of having great days, it's about limiting the bad days. Could this potentially be a very bad day for Ben Kelly and arguably at least the XC1 class for that KTM crew? We've already seen Grant Davis, the machine beat up. Hopefully Grant going to be okay, but out of this race today, now we're waiting on our reigning champ and current points leader.
Yeah, you know, I just took a ride out in the woods. Obviously, I'm limited on where I can go right now, but you know, the trusty Yamaha Grizzly can get you just about anywhere you want to go. And one thing I noticed is this thing is getting pretty rough. Not necessarily around the camera shots. You know, the camera shots actually set up in some of those harder packed areas, but I made it down to the bike-only section. That rock's getting really loose, and it is pretty freaking tough out there right now.
And hearing that it sounds like there is some problems going on for Ben Kelly and potentially having to be tended to by our medical team. Our thoughts with Ben, and hopefully everything going to be okay.
The battle heating up over the number 3 spot. Craig DeLong right again to the rear wheel of Caleb Russell on screen. And again, that is a bummer for Ben Kelly. We'll wait until we have an official word update, but the radio chatter is that the medical team potentially checking on Ben Kelly. So that is a bummer with his teammate Grant Davis already out with a crash earlier today. The woes continue for that FMF Red Bull KTM team right now, and not a good day for those guys. Like you said, Zach, our thoughts are with them. We'll get an update when we can, and hope for the best.
No doubt about it. Just taking a look at our points breakdown right now. 99 points for Ben Kelly, 96 for Jordan and Liam. Craig DeLong back there a little bit more at 78, but only 6 points behind him is Witkowski. The top 5 really not that far apart in points, and with a big shakeup like it sounds like we've got on our hands right now, maybe a newfound motivation as here we go, white flag waving, final lap underway. Stu Baylor trying to bring it home, and Jordan Ashburn trying to snatch it away here on the final lap.
Man, these two have absolutely thrown down at the front. Jordan Ashburn was able to make his way around Stu Baylor, started to pull away, and then Baylor answered back, taking the lead, but now he's under fire again from Jordan Ashburn. He just will not give up.
You know, Stu Baylor is probably one of the most tough guys out there, both physically and mentally. But, you know, you got to look back and see that number 3 and just feel a bit of intimidation. I know it's like you keep playing on the Dale Earnhardt thing, but there's just something about that number font that when you look at it, just the number itself is aggressive looking.
Oh, look at that line from Baylor.
That was smooth, very smooth.
You know he had scoped that one out. You don't just run through the bushes like that without having taken a look at it ahead of time.
Hearing some positive news as far as Ben Kelly's concerned. Sounds like he's back up under his own power and at least going to attempt to bring that machine back to the finish line. Johnny and Jared, both of you could touch on this a little bit. No DNFs here at GNCC. It all is based off of completed laps. even something, if he doesn't make it to the checker flag, getting it to the finish and taking the white would be a big deal for Ben Kelly.
Well, he would need to score inside the top 20 overall to get any points for the day. Yes. But I think the great news here, back on the machine, working his way towards the finish line. We'll see if he continues on after the white flag and just how severe that crash was. But the fact that he's able to remount the machine and ride it to the finish line, whether the race continues for him or not, that is great news. Now, Jack Walker in the pits again. Again, that astute observation from Keith Obermeyer at home saying he did need to pit every 2 laps, and we have seen that play out here. These riders looking a little slower through this section, but we pointed out earlier that dust is thick through that section of racetrack. Leader on track, Stu Baylor leading the way. Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot. Caleb Russell in 3rd, and man, you couldn't slip a piece of paper between our leaders right now. Jordan Ashburn throwing everything at him, and only 6 seconds separating the top 4 on track. As now, it's not even a matter of laps or time, it's mile markers. These guys, they're at the 1. They've got about 8 miles left until this race is over, and only 6 seconds. Think about that. 3 hours of racing, near 3 hours of racing, and 6 seconds separating your leaders on the final lap of racing.
Yeah, that's really wild. Thinking back, there's times that these races have been won by 10 minutes or more. To see these guys run 6 seconds apart it's actually a tribute to how aggressive these guys are. And, years ago, it wasn't like this.
No,
the guys would take off. You took off, you trail rode for a couple hours, and then you really wicked.
Trail rode very fast.
Trail rode faster than us normal people for a couple hours, and then you race the last hour. And now it's like, to go out there and race nonstop as hard as you can for 3 hours is absolutely incredible. I'd venture to say these are some of the best athletes on the planet. I'm not at all ashamed for you to say that.
No, and we've seen the heart rate data that backs that up. Many of these riders averaging well upwards of a 180 per minute beats heart rate over the course of 2-3 hours. That's just absolute insanity. We've talked about it before many times on the show. Medical professionals saying, no, that's not possible. Well, tell that to Garmin, Polar, and the rest of these. We're getting some updates in our headset. We'll keep you guys as things are going, but still, Stu Baylor leading the way, Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot, Caleb Russell in 3rd, Craig DeLong 4th, Mike Wachowski still lurking back there in that number 5 spot and threatening, but just not quite close enough to get in the fight for this win right now, but still solidly in that number 5 spot. And we'll wait and watch. Now our XC2 riders have checked in, and it is still Reardon leading the way with a 2-second gap over Jason Tino. And then Liam Draper has also checked in 6th place in that XC1. Jack Walker has checked in 9th place in the overall and 3rd in that XC1, but he's now 31 seconds behind Jason Tino.
And I tell you what, it's got to be a mix of pride and frustration for Mike Wachowski because kind of been in no man's land all day long. It does sound like Ben able to move under his own power. He's back on the machine. Sounds like collided with a tree, but is headed back to the pits. So a tough break there for Ben, but just like you said earlier, Johnny, biggest thing, up under his own power and ultimately going to be okay.
Yep, absolutely. Great news, not for the race today, but for the longevity of his career and for his race season. He is going to continue on to fight another day, and depending on post-race checkups, we very likely may see him back here in 2 weeks when we go racing in Ohio at the Powerline Park GNCC again in just another 2 weeks.
And earlier I mentioned it's always good when our guys bring you out of the woods. It's even better when you ride yourself.
Sure,
no
absolutely.
Doubt. It's way better.
Initial reports were that he was going to try and continue on. We got an update that he was headed back to the KTM semi. Play it safe was the words that were passed along to us. He had crashed hard enough that he wanted to get back, get assessed, but he was riding under his own power. So great news for Ben Kelly and his team. Top 5 through this camera shot here at the mile marker. Number 1, Stu Baylor, Jordan Ashburn, Caleb Russell, Craig DeLong, and just behind that battle for the lead, here comes the 5th place ride of Mike Wachowski. Solid day for Mike. He just seemed to have lost touch with the leaders there about midway through and has not been able to make up that very small gap. When he checked in this last lap, 41 seconds. It was 20 some odd the lap before, so he is continuing to lose time. But it's so hard to know that pace when you can't see the riders in front of you. He's just fighting to try to hold off the riders behind him. But look at this, Liam Draper now starting to chip away on the final lap of racing, trying to gain every point available. There is the battle for the lead. Jordan Ashburn again with those alternate lines all over Stu Baylor.
And moving left, moving right. Caleb Russell picking up on that kind of manualing line there as now we get a look inside the KTM pits. Ben Kelly, shout out to Dr. Tanner there right now talking to the number 1. Doc Tanner with our safety on-site medical staff. top-notch medical community that we've got here with us that not only understand the medical side of things, but understand the sport as well. I say this all the time. You go to your average doctor and say, I was fifth gear tapped, I went OTB, swapped out, and, came together. They're not going to know what you're talking about. Dr. Tanner understands the sport inside and out, and that actually makes a big deal as far as how he assesses you and ultimately your treatment as well.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, fair. I was about to say, you guys have got mighty comfortable with each other just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. And it was, I'll tell you, it was very helpful, because he was able to get an x-ray off, and I was able to go on to the hospital and knew exactly what was going on. And same thing, you go in there and you start talking to regular doctors, and they're like, oh, yeah, sure, okay. Right. And like, no, we have a portable x-ray. Yep. We have a portable x-ray at the events, and they were actually the orthopedics that I saw, they were like blown away. They thought that was the coolest thing they had ever heard.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. And 100% free to the riders as well, whether you're a Ben Kelly, a Jared Bolton, or just a rider maybe here for your first time at GNCC. So big shout out to Doc Tanner and Safety On Site for all that they do for the GNCC Racing Nation. But getting down to the final few miles, Liam Draper continuing to try to chip away little by little into that gap from Mike Wachowski, but even if he catches up to Mike, they're going to battle it out. But then there's a whole nother 40+ seconds that you got to get through if you want a chance to move up into that top 4 and fight for a podium.
Yeah, well, we have not seen Reardon and Tino through this camera shot just yet. So as we're counting off the seconds, it is potentially possible that Liam Draper, the charge he has put in as he's trying to catch up to Mike Wachowski, he could potentially gain back. And look at this, new leader in XC2. Jason Tino has made the pass and leads the way. How much is the gap? Looks like it is significant. Gus Reardon having to navigate his way around some lapped riders and losing a few more seconds right here at the 2-mile marker at our camera shot at the FMF PowerPoint. And now Josh Strang into the mix out of that XC1 class is closing back up on Gus Reardon as well. So that will be battle for overall positions on time correction, but he will have to work his way around Reardon and make up 1 minute. So that's going to be a tall order for Strang on this last lap of racing, but still solidly inside the top 10 overall and a good run for the freight train, Josh Strang.
Here we go at the 3-mile mark, watching and waiting as the battle rages on.
Oh, you can see that throttle hand locked for Jordan Ashburn.
Ashburn out front. Yeah, wait a second.
Revving at that lapped rider. Caleb Russell giving chase, still not quite able to get to the rear wheel of the 2 ahead of him. And Craig DeLong really pushing through that very tight section of racetrack, trying to get in the mix and wrestle away that final podium position from Caleb Russell.
So a new old leader as Jordan Ashburn retakes that number 1 spot at the 3-mile mark. Stu Baylor about a Navi apart as the fight continues. We pick them up on the Yamaha Racing live drone, weaving their way in and out of the Tennessee forest. As this is going to get interesting. I can't help but think about those final few corners. The passing opportunities, the alternate lines, Jared. We saw it earlier this morning, and we know both of these riders willing to do what it takes when it comes to getting a win.
Yeah, when you get on this back side of the property, it is a little tighter back in there. A little open in this section, but it is a little tighter overall. A little less rock back there. And once you get onto this side, once you start picking them up here at the 5-mile marks in just a little bit, this side, there's kind of some alternate lines. The motorcycles have a ton of opportunities over here to make some passes, so I think if you're going to see it change up again, it's probably going to come in this last half over here after the 5-mile mark.
While we wait and watch here at the 4-mile marker for our new leader that was the same as the old leader, and then before that, the pursuer, to that front position, Jordan Ashburn taking lead back away from Stu Baylor. Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong continue to battle over that final podium position, just a few seconds behind the lead duo. Little shake-up in the overall amateur. Hunter Smith still leading the way, but Braden Baisley out of that 4-stroke A lights class has now made the pass around some of those 250A riders and a new second-place position in 250A. Ryan Piper, leaders on screen.
Through the 4-mile mark they go. Stu Baylor trying to calculate and find a spot to try to get back around the Phoenix Racing Honda of Jordan Ashburn. And here comes Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong.
It's always funny to me to watch the right wrist of these leaders as they come up on lap traffic. Their clutch is pulled in, but the throttle is absolutely wide open. They're letting the leader know, hey, don't pull back in the track. There's 4 of us. It's not just 1. So these guys trying to bring that lead group of 4 back together right now. It's 2 separate battles, separated by only about 4 seconds on track. But right now, Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong have not been able to bridge that gap just yet to the rear wheels of Stu Baylor and Jordan Ashburn. But lapped riders, definitely a factor here late in this one.
And if you want to talk about intimidating things, as a lapped rider, when you hear that rev bomb, you know, like, you better move, or you might get moved.
Yep. I've many times over the years had lapped riders say, you know, if a group comes up on, even if it's one rider, but when it's a group, it's like, man, I thought there was a freight train coming through the woods. And that's not even when you're revving. That's just how much higher of an RPM that top riders are running through these sections. And then once you actually pull the clutch in and start revving, it can almost work against you sometimes, because if you startle these guys, they think they need to get out of the way. A lot of times what the lead riders are really saying is, hey, man, hold your line. I'm here. I'll pass you. And it can get a little dicey at times for sure.
To your point, I'm curious, that gap between second and third, kind of the two rider duos that we have, is that going to work in the favor of Baylor? He's pretty much solely focused on attacking Jordan Ashburn now, but if Caleb Russell starts to get into this mix, then he's going to have to calculate some defense into it as well. Right now, that little bit of gap, and it's only a little bit, actually probably helping Baylor stay focused on getting back around Jordan.
Well, and when you talk about intimidation factors, Stu Baylor not really affected by anything, but true. When you see the 5.57 behind you, that's a rider that's won 8 of these championships and 70 some odd wins, or 70, 69. I think it's 69.
68.
Yep. There we go. So that's a lot of race wins and a lot of experience there. So Stu Baylor surely will be riding differently if Caleb Russell is able to get back to the rear wheel as he was a few laps ago. But right now, it's actually Craig DeLong who's on the offense, really putting the pressure on Caleb Russell, trying to wrestle away that number 3 spot. We did see Mike Wachowski come through there in the number 5 spot. We'll wait now, if we stay with this camera shot, and see if we can see if Jason Tino, look at this. Yep. Reardon back to lead. He's made the pass back on Jason Tino, so that is a shakeup. And now Josh Strang also back around Tino, so maybe something going awry for Tino. Hopefully just a little tip over, but Jack Walker not too far behind. When they checked in last lap, 31 seconds was the gap that he had back, and as we count off the seconds, it may be Walker back to the number 2 ride.
Wow, so
did we miss Jason Tino?
I was going to say,
there's Walker.
I think Tino might have slipped in there.
We'll maybe see if we can get OPAG to scan back through, find out whether or not we missed Jason Tino.
I didn't see him.
I didn't think I did either.
Okay, well, we'll wait and watch here at the 4-mile marker and see if we miss Jason Tino. We will flash ahead here to the 5-mile marker. This is the battle for lead. Jordan Ashburn has it, and Stu Baylor wants it back, looking a little further back down the track. Here comes the 5.57 of Caleb Russell and the 3.42 of Craig DeLong in that battle over the final podium position, just behind those leaders. So when you speak about this, you know, yes, it's 2 separate battles, but also the slightest little miscue could mean the difference of one of these riders falling off of the podium position, or potentially those 2 riders behind getting up into the mix for the lead again. And we are being told that Jason Tino did come through that camera shot. Our trail boss, Jared Bolton, said he thought he saw him. We must have been too
we were yakking,
wrapped up in what we were talking about. So if you're at home, folks, we are told Jason Tino still leading the way in that XC2 class and in that 6th place spot overall on corrected time when they checked in at the white flag. So shout out to Tino, looking to make it back-to-back in that XC2 class, and nothing better than getting your first win and then backing it up 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what's better than a first win? Another one.
That's right.
What's better than that? Another one. We'll see about that.
Some people in the racing world say the best win you've ever had is the most recent one, and also looking forward to the next one.
Yep, exactly.
Mike Wachowski threw in that 5th place spot overall and in XC1, and we'll wait and watch here. Should see Liam Draper working his way through in that 8th place spot overall. We saw him running just outside the top 10 a few laps ago. Ben Kelly having some issues picking up a spot there, and then also some pretty intense riding from Draper, making up some time, trying to gain back those spots in the overall from Tino and Reardon to see if he can get himself even 2 more points in that championship battle, as he sits 2nd coming into the day and likely will leave 2nd if things finish as they are.
We'll see what he can do sticking around here at the mile 5 marker, our FMF PowerPoint.
Yeah, this is kind of the section where I was saying things could change drastically on the second half of the racetrack. Once you get past the 5-mile mark, you're working back onto what is actually the old gray property, you know, as far as the venue on this side. And see, there's Jason Tino. Yeah, we didn't miss him this time.
No, we didn't. Jared didn't miss him the first time, but Eagle. I'm going punish myself, then I probably won't allow myself to have Taco Bell on the way home.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
All right, so Tino now has actually opened that gap up over this rider right here. Gus Reardon in the number 2 spot in XC2 and running in the 7th place spot overall here at the FMF PowerPoint. Next up, we should see Josh Strang coming through here from that XC1 class, and there he is on that number 7 machine, pushing the pace, trying to gain every possible second, and maybe in position to gain back an overall spot from his XC2 rider. Strang, also the team manager, we should point out, for that Liquid Molly Beta. But no, Walker's still very close behind Strang there. And again, that outside line we've spoken about quite a bit here. Jack Walker was one of the first riders to take it early on, and continuing to use that line through this section of racetrack here, even on the final lap as things play out here, Jackson.
Sure is, man. I'm so amazed at how straight these riders can keep these machines over the rock. I know I talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but seeing Reardon there getting a big buck and able to keep that machine just as straight as an arrow.
A lot of leg strength. Toes in, knees in, keep that bike straight. You got to push it around with your legs, because if you let your knees come out and your toes point out, it allows that bike to kind of wiggle around, especially in these slippery and rocky sections of racetrack.
Got to get those pigeon toes.
So we've seen a lot of interesting things happen here this weekend. We had some, prior to today's event, we did have some special recognitions here on the starting line before our XC1 race got underway. A rider that is out campaigning right now on the number 206 machine. We have seen him in the pits a few times here, Jackson. Josh Toth was recognized for his above and beyond efforts 2 weeks ago in Kentucky. Cody Barnes, one of the XC1 riders, crashed in front of him. Josh Toth sacrificing his race to make sure that Cody Barnes was okay, got the proper medical attention. The team was on site very quickly, but Toth actually directed riders around in the dust to make sure Cody Barnes did not get hit by any oncoming riders. It just shows the spirit of GNCC, Jackson.
Yeah, it sure does. And John Carpenter right there, who you see on the right side of your screen in our RacerTV.com shirt. Carp, as we know him by, going to get the Moto Hero Award here this weekend, Johnny, and much deserved, not only for Carp, but then, of course, Toth getting that Sportsmanship Award and going to some very deserving people. And here we go. Jordan Ashburn making his way by, and they are charging hard going into these final few sections. Johnny, we have saw fireworks here today at those closing sections of the race. It looks like we're going to get to see some more.
Yeah, and we've got that battle over the final podium position as well, just a few seconds behind Caleb Russell in the 3rd spot. Craig DeLong looking to take that spot away, wanting to back up that podium. That would be a flip-flop running order from 2 weeks ago. It was actually Craig DeLong who was able to finish on that final podium position in 3rd. Caleb Russell left off the podium there in 4th. So that is a battle to keep an eye on as well. And we are down to just a few miles here to settle this one out. Man, the battles have been intense right from the drop of the green flag. And Jordan Ashburn leading the way right now with Stu Baylor hot on his heels. This one is going to come right down to the wire.
It sure is, and it has been a good one so far. Taking a look at the points, Johnny, this is going to be a huge shakeup as far as our points are concerned. Coming into this race after 5 rounds, Ben Kelly led the way with 99 points, just 3 points behind him, sitting with 96. Tied for that 2nd place spot is Jordan Ashburn and Liam Draper, as we see Mike Witkowski on screen there. But yeah, so it was whoever finished higher, Jordan Ashburn or Liam Draper, were going to be able to rocket theirself out of that tie. And right now it is a huge shakeup, as obviously the points leader, Ben Kelly, not having the day that he expected to here today. And then Jordan Ashburn, he's off to a great day. If the way that they're running right now, no doubt about it, Ashburn going to have himself a pretty good points lead leaving here today.
Well, and that shows the sense of urgency also for Liam Draper as he's trying to gain back those positions he's lost on corrected time. Here's the battle on screen. This is it, the final mile of racetrack. Jordan Ashburn has the lead, but it is Stu Baylor pushing, and Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong still wheel to wheel through this final section of racetrack, just a few seconds behind Ashburn and Baylor. But Jordan Ashburn, 30 points if he's able to hang on to the lead and grab this win here today, and that would catapult him into the points lead. And with Liam Draper currently running in that 8th place spot, he'd be looking at 13 points to Jordan Ashburn's 30. So that would be a 17-point advantage as they run on the racetrack right now. And that is huge when you think that there was 3 riders separated by only 3 points coming into the day today. So Jordan Ashburn in a great position. Even if he gives up that lead position to Stu Baylor, which he's surely not looking to do, he would still maintain that points lead as they run right now.
And Johnny, this could be the race round number 6 that we look back at round number 13 when we decide our champion here for the year. But look at this, final few sections of racetrack coming down to it. Who's it going to be? Can Ashburn hold on to it, or will Baylor be able to bulldog his way up into the top spot?
Looking at potentially back-to-back overall wins. Jordan Ashburn started the season off a little slower than he would have liked, but he is looking to put himself in position to hold the points lead all by himself. No ties, no questions about who that reverse red-white plate goes to. Jordan Ashburn leads the way, but Stu Baylor is going to fight him right down to the final corners. They're in the VP Fuels Pro Row, going out almost connecting with the track barriers there. And look at this, here comes the battle for third. Caleb Russell taking that inside line. Craig DeLong trying to sweep outside and get a run on Russell. And look at this, side by side.
And he almost had it there, Johnny. Not able to get a good drive there for Craig DeLong out of that corner, but still going to have another couple chances to make something happen here.
Ashburn opening up just a couple of bike lengths over Baylor, and this is the opposite we saw 2 years ago. Stu Baylor leading the way, and Jordan Ashburn almost getting him in this very same section of racetrack. You can see the trees just shaking as these riders fighting their way through this final mile of racetrack.
And for good reason. Those boys, they're making the ground shake right now as they make their way by. What has been 2 hours and 42 minutes of racing so far is going to all come down to this for Ashburn and Baylor. Russell and DeLong. And here it is, Johnny. One more corner to go. Checker flag flies.
Jordan Ashburn back-to-back wins here at the Old Gray GNCC, taking the win with Stu Baylor right on his rear wheel through the final corners. They were wheel to wheel, but Jordan Ashburn, your new championship points leader, and back-to-back wins. Caleb Russell comes across the line. Can't tell if that is third. Yep, there he is, and Craig DeLong just behind him there in the number 4 spot. You can see the congratulations coming around, pats on the back. Look like those guys battling. Looks like almost like they're talking about their tires right now, the way they're looking at the back of those machines. But respect between these 2 riders battling it out, and you can see they were just a few seconds behind when they checked in. It was 0.6 seconds between Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor, and then 6 seconds behind Caleb Russell was Craig DeLong. So what a battle right down to the finish line between those 4 riders.
5 winners in 6 races. Jordan Ashburn going to be the first 2-time winner here in 2026.
Home race, home state. You know this one feels good for Jordan Ashburn.
You know there's going to be a sea of fans making their way around Jordan Ashburn, as they should be. Johnny, we saw it the past few years that we've been racing here at this specialized Old Gray facility. Jordan Ashburn having a ton of fans showing up and showing out for him here in his home state. One of the few riders we've actually been able to hear the fans screaming while Jordan Ashburn made his way around the past few years. So I know they're going to be just as excited as he is. The Tennessee man going to get it done right here in Tennessee.
Big day for Jordan Ashburn and that Phoenix Racing Honda team, back-to-back wins. And that is going to be a very happy team over there. And you can see Jordan and family celebrating this one. You know just how much it means to Jordan. We saw that graphic earlier. Looks like the vets were able to hold on a +30 podium for that XC1 and overall. There is Jason Tino, we believe, still leading the way in that XC2 class. 9-mile marker. He has just a few corners to go until we will see him also back-to-back wins here in 2026. Won our last round 2 weeks ago in Kentucky. Looking to do it again here in Tennessee just 2 weeks later. And that will give him a big bump in the points as well.
So we're going to get a word in with our top 3 here in just a second. It looks like Zach Heron going to be making his way over to Jordan Ashburn now. Zach, whenever you're ready, go ahead and jump in.
All right, thanks, Jackson. Yeah, just down here chatting up with the man who got the job done, Jordan Ashburn. Man, what an incredible ride. Once again, our top athletes, bike lengths apart, coming all the way down to the checker flag. That one was a fight. Take us through how you got it done.
Oh, man, it was definitely a fight. Man, we just was wheel to wheel basically all day, and man, it's just tight racing. It's awesome to have the home crowd here. That was amazing. Man, the track was brutal, pretty fast still. I thought it was going to be a little slower, but the pace was fast, and the track was hairy. You know, you had to hit your marks and hit your spots. And but I'm happy to get a win at home. Yeah, super pumped.
No doubt about it. Now, we have Randy Richards join us in the TV truck. She said on this track you had to know when you could push and when to reserve a little bit. It felt like that first hour and a half you were kind of doing just that. If an opportunity presented itself, you took it, but didn't seem like that sense of urgency really got kicked off till the second half of hour number 2. Was that a strategy, or was that just kind of the cards that the race dealt you?
You know, I don't know if it's a strategy. I'm going to ride as hard as I can all day, but just kind of the way the track raced early on, we were all together and it was kind of bunched up. But as we got to that pit stop, everybody, Stu really amped it up, and then I had to amp it up, and everybody come up on us pushing. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff out there to miss, so it was a gnarly track.
Well, Jordan, not only do you grab the win in the XC1 class, you firmly take over that XC1 points lead as we head into round 7. Things are looking mighty solid for the number 3 machine.
Yeah, you know, I just taking it race by race, really. That's what we talked about as a team and a family, but hey, I'm pumped to get a win here, and we'll focus on the other stuff later and just race by race. But I'd like to give thanks to David Eller and the whole Phoenix Honda racing team for giving me this opportunity this year. And, man, we've got the bike really good. And, yeah, we just got to keep the ball rolling. And I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing me to do this and giving me the talent to be out here. And, man, thanks to everybody, Moose Racing, my family, my mechanic, Garrett, man, he's really been solid this year and helped me get everything dialed. And everybody out there, Sky Goggles, Moose Racing, Dunlop Tires, everybody, thanks so much. We'll keep it rolling.
There it is. The Homestay boy gets the job done here in Tennessee.
And happy birthday to my mother-in-law.
There it is. Had to get that one in. Jordan Ashburn gets the job done.
Got to get the birthday for the mother-in-law, and they're got to gain favor with the in-laws always. But Jordan Ashburn saying he's taking it race to race. Well, he's going to take it to the next race with a 16-point lead in this championship standings as he runs, grabbing the win, 30 points. Liam Draper has crossed the line, was able to make up a couple spots there late in the race, ultimately finishing in 7th place spot in the overall, meaning 14 points for him. So that'll be the tail of the tape. 16 points will be the gap that Jordan Ashburn carries in that championship points lead, headed into round number 7 in 2 weeks in Ohio.
And speaking of tails of the tape, we did get to see our XC2 class checking in, and it is going to be Jason Tino on the 226 factory KTM machine that's going to be able to get the job done here today.
Yep, and Gus Reardon and also Jack Walker also have checked in from that XC2 class, 2nd and 3rd place, and it was 31 seconds Tino was able to pull out on that final lap of racing. So we missed him because he was going so fast. He just blew by our cameras. But Tino grabbing the win, back-to-back wins for him as well. And we have seen the podium in both the overall and the XC2 class now across the line. And we have our man Zach Heron standing by with, it looks like we actually have our... Okay, we're getting some updates on, looks like Zach, we can see him down there.
Perfect, yeah. Hey,
trying
I'll jump
to
in here,
corral.
guys. Stu Baylor breaking things down with our race director, Tim Cotter, right now. We're going to see if we can work over here to Craig DeLong, past Craig, and good job, Craig. Going to move over here to Caleb Russell here, 3rd place out of your XC1 class. Caleb, man, what a freight train you guys had going at the front of this field. It felt like you were yo-yoing back and forth. Sometimes less than a bike length separated you. Other times a couple of seconds in between you. It came down to the wire, and we put it up on the box. Take us through Old Gray.
Yeah, man, it was a blast. It's nice to finally get up there this year. It's been a struggle. I mean, I felt like I should have been right here in this spot and battling for wins the entire time. Round 2, obviously big buck. Mudfest coin flip there, but banged myself up in Florida, and it was a bummer because I was in great shape. I was riding really good. I was having a lot of fun, and yeah, man, my knees. Dr. Tanner worked on my knee, and surprisingly, I got it turned around really fast. I was way faster than last year, so I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I felt good. I gambled on the tire. I ran a gummy, and man, it was so awesome in the rocky stuff and the shale rock, and it was so good, and I could catch it back up. But anywhere out in the open, the last 2.5 laps, I ripped all the knobs off, and I was just ice skating. So I'm really happy to be up here and be in the mix. And like I said, I feel like this is where I should have been the entirety of the series so far, but just haven't been able to showcase that, and it's a shame. But we're here, we're having a good time, and all the old guys did it.
There it is, absolutely. So the old dogs still know how to get the job done, right?
Yep.
No doubt about it. A comfortable Caleb Russell is a dangerous Caleb Russell back on the XC1 podium.
Well, there you have it. 3rd place overall on the day. Caleb Russell on that Ampro Racing Yamaha. saying he made a gamble on the tire choice. We saw that 2 weeks ago with Liam Draper ending up in the number 2 spot after losing all the knobs. So it's the tale of the tire choice is looming so large here in these races. I believe our man Zach Herron going to work his way over to try to find Stu Baylor or potentially Jason Tino, our XC2 class winner. We'll get these interviews to you, but man, what an amazing race we witnessed here today, Jackson.
Yeah, it sure was. And Caleb Russell, glad to see him back up into the mix after taking a bit of a hiatus during the season. So glad to have Caleb back with us and glad to have him back on the podium. But speaking of being back on the podium, here's Stu Baylor. Zach Herron going to be standing by.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, I lassoed him down. I found him. Stu Baylor, man, what an incredible battle all the way down to the wire. And so good to see Stu Baylor take a checker flag, and especially in those kinds of conditions, man. We talk about how bad you want it, how hard you and the team push. How good does it feel to be able to finish one of these races? I know you were this close to the win, but, man, bringing it all the way to the checkers got to be a small win that you can add to the cap.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, I guess if they're not going to give me this win, then what the hell does string and ribbon mean? Yeah, I stayed on the track, and I knew where the line was. I saw it. He passed me there twice. And, yeah, I mean, I get, like, racing incidents, and maybe he didn't see that was strung and ribbon, but there was stringer and ribbon there before the race. And I rode a good race. I rode a winning race, and I rode an honest race. So, you know, if they take this one from me, then so be it. You know, the only reason I didn't pull that one off is just a bad line. But yeah, we rode a great race. The bike worked great. It was definitely good, a good positive day. You know, the bike finished, and yeah, thanks to my whole team, the Kawasaki Rocky Mountain team, all my mechanics. Man, the good Lord for keeping us safe. Yeah, it was sketchy out there. We were pushing the limits today, but. Sunoco fuels, ASV levers, safety on side, Achirby's, Pirelli tires, Shoei helmets, CD boots, MSR, Tusk, environmental golf, XC gear, Redline, all the other guys that do so much for our program, all of our team. There's so many guys behind the scenes, mechanics, drivers, everybody that's putting so much into it. My wife, my family, and everybody that supports it. Thank you.
There it is. Heck of an effort. Stu Baylor, happy to take a checker flag, but still frustrated just coming up short of that win.
Well, there you have it, Jackson. Sounds like Stu, some question about potential lines out there. We leave that to race direction and our track crew. It sounds like Stu was speaking with some officials after the race. We'll let that play itself out as they finished the running order. Stu Baylor in the number 2 spot. Again, all these results provisional after the race until review. Any questions about lines or anything like that are reviewed by the track crew, and decisions will be made if need be. But, man, what a race. I hate to see a little discrepancy, but, you know, these guys have a lot of respect for each other, and Stu pointing out that maybe whatever may have happened, they're going to look into it, and we'll await final word on that.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you're not already, make sure to follow us on our social medias, Racer TV and GNCC, and we'll keep you up to date if we don't have final answers by the time we end our show here today.
All right, so I don't know if our man Zach Herron is going to try to grab Jason Tino, the 226 with his back-to-back wins in that XC2 class, so definitely going to be a very elated Jason Tino if our man Zach Herron is able to grab him.
See his mechanic headed back with the bike, so they're going to get ready for some podium celebrations. And sounds like Zach Herron going to be standing by. Zach, take it away.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, we weren't able to snag him after his first XC2 win, but how about you back it up so we get an extra chance to get the job done? Jason Tino here grabbing the XC2 win and came down to the wire just like our XC1 class. A true battle between yourself, Gus Reardon, Jack Walker. The list goes on and on, but you come out on top, man. Take us through it.
Man, that was a hard-fought one. At one point, me and Gus were like 30 seconds down, and I thought it was gone, but we put the hammer on the second half there and reeled him in, and then I got the pass on Gus right over here in this turn. It was pretty sweet. Then led the whole last lap.
What a way to close it out, man. Now, we talked about the confidence boost that first XC2 win, going from I think I can to I've done it before. Did it feel like there was a mental difference between our last round and this one, or is it just we've been stacking blocks and now it's starting to pay off?
Yeah, definitely a mental difference. Just knowing that what I'm doing throughout the week is the right thing, and just relaxing a little bit more, coming in the weekend, having a little bit more fun, and yeah, it makes a world of difference.
Certainly pays off, man. You're looking good. There it is. Jason Tino, your XC2 winner. Now 2 rounds in a row.
Looking good and feeling good for Jason Tino as he takes the XC2 win. here at this beautiful Tennessee property for the Specialized Old Gray GNCC. Johnny, it has been a good one here today.
Yeah, it really was action-packed from start to finish. We saw down to the final corners between the top 4 over those 3 podium positions. And again, another shout out to Craig DeLong backing it up, that podium from just 2 weeks ago with a 4th place finish here today. But man, this one, the track was a little bit different this year. We got some rain last night, and it seemingly just continued to dry out throughout the race. We heard a lot of the riders mentioning how sketchy the sections of the track were, but how good it made for the racing. And this one was exciting start to finish. And I've got a little race recap of how it all played out for you here. When they lined up to start this Old Gray GNCC, it was Ben Kelly with the overall points lead, and Jordan Ashburn in his home state race looking to get it done. We ultimately know that he did, but we'll get to that here in a moment. A little bit extra swagger from Jordan Ashburn today, and off the trigger, Craig DeLong up the inside, squaring it up, grabbing that XC1 class hole shot, and Jack Walker very fast off the line, grabbing that hole shot in XC2, and the boys were tight and throwing down right from the start. Stu Baylor quickly getting to that point position, but Jordan Ashburn recognizing the intensity that Stu Baylor was laying down, not letting him get away. And it seemed right now that this one was going to work its way out. We can see some bottle handoffs getting a little dicey there as well, and this lead group started to distance themselves. Those 4 riders, Stu Baylor, Jordan Ashburn, Caleb Russell, and Craig DeLong, Ben Kelly running solidly inside the top 10, ultimately exiting the race with an injury, and that will be a big factor in our points championship battle as we continue on to our next round of racing. But Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor traded the lead back and forth. Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong battled it right down until the final corners, and Jordan Ashburn able to hold off a hard-charging Stu Baylor, crossing the finish line, celebrating his 2nd win in a row here in 2026.
Sure did, and you can see some congratulations there from Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong. I'm sure saluting each other on what was a very hard-fought race for both of them. But how about this man, Jordan Ashburn, able to be our first 2-time winner here in 2026, or at least as of right now. And that was your Specialized race recap. Taking a look here at your top 10 overall, Jordan Ashburn, Stu Baylor Jr., Caleb Russell, top 3. Craig DeLong, Mike Wachowski, top 5. And then Jason Tino, your XC2 leader with a 6th place overall. Liam Draper, 7th. Angus Reardon, 8th. And then it was Jack Walker and Josh Strang, the 2 Beta boys, that finished things out in our top 10.
Well, we've had an amazing race here today from the Old Gray. And if you've enjoyed the action here today, we'll go ahead and give you kind of what our final thoughts are as we do this in this part of the show. Jackson, I'll let you start it off. We've seen some crazy things, but what's your biggest takeaway from the day here today?
When Jordan Ashburn puts on the helmet, he is a bad, bad dude. That is going to be my number 1 takeaway. And then Caleb Russell is back. That is my next takeaway from this. I'm looking forward to see what Caleb can do in the next few races. But going off the start there, Johnny, we saw him get tangled up with that hay bale, a dead last start for him besides the 3 that hit the ground. Caleb Russell able to work his way up through the pack into a podium position.
I think the biggest takeaway for me, Jackson, is how close the racing action is at the front. Jared Bolton was with us, gave us some great insight during the race today, talking about how these races often won by minutes in the past. The top 4 put in, separated by just 6 seconds going into the final lap of racing. Man, that just shows all these guys are pushing so hard in so many battles at the front of the pack. It's great racing action. 5 different winners through 6 rounds. Jordan Ashburn being the first to back it up with a back-to-back win these last 2 rounds. So puts him in the driver's seat, and with a 16-point lead headed into round number 7, that's the storyline for me.
This is progressive GNCC racing at its finest. 5 winners in 6 rounds. How about it? And it's something that we've become accustomed to here in GNCC, and going to grow even more accustomed to it after this 2026 season.
Well, we surely have had a blast bringing you the action here today. Hope you've enjoyed it at home. We've got some more upcoming broadcasts coming your way next weekend from the J-Day at Lake Sugar Tree on May 10th. We will have all of the J-Day action. That's a 1-day format. And then we'll head over to Powerline Park in Ohio for round 7 of GNCC racing with the ATV action coming your way on Saturday the 16th. Followed up the next day with the bike action on the 17th. And then we have that Bagger Racing League round 1 from Hastings, Nebraska there on May 23rd. So all of these upcoming broadcasts coming your way on RacerTV.com, and the great team bringing you that action right to your living room.
We want to thank all of you for tuning in here today on Racer TV, and especially those who have stayed right here to the end with us. On behalf of our executive producer, Carrie Russell, our producer, Adam Gordon, OPAG, our director, Don Hampton, our replay artist, Cameron Cotter, engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, second engineer, Jack Renner, our manager, Dan Reinhardt, who had his birthday here yesterday, our official spotter, David Hollywood Kripe, our camera operators, Jack Renner, Matt Gabriel, Adam Adkins, Josh Hefner, Adam Arndt, Dave Kelsch, Dylan Atkins, and then John Carpenter, who took our Moto Hero Award. Our moto filmer, Brian Risch, always doing a great job out there. Thank you, Brian. Our drone pilot doing a great job as well, Gabe Scholl. And then on behalf of the talent here this weekend, Johnny Gallagher, Zach Herron, Jared Bolton, and myself, Jackson Burrell. We'll see you at the next one.